tSports Network.
Hello.
We are your hosts. I'm Rob. This is Nick.
Hello, I'm Nikos. How's it going?
Our table boss for today is Tom Layton.
Mr. Tom Layton.
And our other table boss is Mr. Tom Wallace. And joining us on the deck is John Scrimmins. We're here in Wales at the Firestorm 4's. No, it's not Firestorm 4. Sorry, that's an event.
That's a different event.
Yeah, the Firestorm Wargaming Centre, the South Wales Wargaming Centre. It's pretty nice here.
Yeah, it's an awesome venue. Loads of open space, loads of tables, loads of different games going on. There's a load of card games going on over there. There's a fully stocked bar, kitchen, massive shop as well. So it's a really nice venue.
Yeah, I've had a nice time. So we're here for round 2 of the Vale Renegades Echoes of War 4 40k event. It's an ITC 40k event. It's pretty exciting. We had a very thrilling round 1. We got to see Space Marines do well.
We did.
Which was a shock to me.
It was a shock to us all, I think. Against the grain, that was.
It was.
Yeah, and we also had some Tau on table 1. We had the
Supremacy
Suit. Yeah,
doing the work. And we also saw Necrons take a true drubbing. And to let you know, this is very exciting, we've decided to get on. There was an Ork list that we were really excited about, right?
Yes, there was, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a Boom Dakka Snazwagon. Yeah, it's got a Mechadret Scrapjet.
Got a Ruckachuk Squig Buggy.
It's also got a Squigalanch Pull-Up. So I'm very excited about those. But it turned out he got drawn against the same Necron player we had before. We thought that would be a really great story to do the coverage of, so that's going to be one of our games. We've also got an Astraeus Heavy Tank match.
Yes.
That's going to be really fun. Iron Hands.
Super heavy for you guys to see in action.
Up against Tau, and then we've also got some more Iron Hands with some Knights.
Yeah, Chaos Knights and some Derrideos.
So look forward to those. The lists are all in the chat, so you can check out those in a minute. Before we do, though, we've got, thanks to the power of the Vale Renegades Open is using Down Under pairings for their system. So that means we're able to generate some really cool information. If we go and look at our table now, you can look at the faction win percentages that we saw from last round. That's almost it. There we go. So Tau, that round, now obviously it's only a small field, but it all works and it works well. There were 2 players and they won all the games. Tyranids, 2 players, they won all the games. I wasn't expecting Tyranids to win all theirs.
No, Tyranids haven't been doing that great of late with the Marines coming in with all their AP and shooting. But
well, I think the minuses to hit, especially against those, what we've seen is a lot of, so it was you that was telling me this, we've seen limited number of shots coming out of Marine armies, right?
But yeah, most Marines at the minute are taking to Stalker bolt rifles and things like that, so
those minuses to hit are actually quite big, which I think the Tyranid armies are putting out there, right, to reduce their input.
But are the Tyranids adapting?
Oh, nice.
Adapting and overcoming.
Nice. Do they have the adaptive protocols to do it? So the Eldari, they've got a win in there. I know Tom will be happy. We're not, obviously.
We're very upset about that.
But, okay. So we'll find out some hot info from the table in a minute. The starties obviously on that 72% win rate, and everyone else beyond that. Orks, no wins for the Orks.
Chaos,
no wins.
Chaos, 50%, 1 win, 1 loss for them. I'm rooting for the Chaos this weekend. I hope a Chaos takes out the event.
Okay, so we're going to go straight to table 3. We're going to go straight to table 3. And let me tell you what we're seeing here. On the left-hand side, you have the Ork army run by Neil. He's a lovely man, by the way. It's got talking to him. And on the right-hand side is George with his Necrons. The same Necron George on the same side as we saw him last round.
Yeah.
He got the opportunity to go first. Unfortunately, we're now going to go live to our table boss. And our table boss is going to tell us what's happened and why the Orks are playing now.
Over here, guys, in this ITC mission, it's a case of, it's not an alternating deployment type. It is you deploy your entire army and you get to choose whether you go first or second. So George, our Necron player, put his entire Necron army down very aggressively on the line, ready to go first. Neil, our Ork player, decided he's not going to have any of that. He's going to just deploy directly on the line as well. Go really aggressive, go for it. He's come up, he's rolled his siege dice, and he's rolled that 6. The Orks are now going first, having seized on the Necrons with an incredibly aggressive deployment. So they're going to be pushing everything into that Necron army's face. Equally, on the other 2 tables, on table 1 and on table 2, the armies going first are the Tau and the Chaos Knights, unless we get more Caesars. So, we'll be waiting on that.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Tom. That's great. Look at that. The big C's. He deployed aggressively, just like Tom was saying. Yeah, he got in there, and he is going for it. I think he knew he was going to roll the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually managed to have a quick chat with Neil before the turn started. He said those knob bikers, he described them as a complete waste of time. Yeah. But performing terribly. So, yeah, great Orc tactics.
Absolutely.
Deploy aggressively, hope to seize. The list, though, Nick, is
what I like about this game with George being back on this same table. In my head, the Iron Hands came along, killed all the Necrons. They left the bodies there. But then, obviously, the Necron reanimation protocols kicked into gear. All the army rose back again, has been rebuilt, only to be came across by Orc Warband.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a strong play from these Orcs. But the Necrons being reanimated, and also it's kind of nice to see George back on the tabletop. Obviously, after the disastrous first round where he just got mullered.
I'm sure it'd be much easier for him to kill Orcs than it was Iron Hands last game.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at the Orc list really quickly, because I think it's very, very fun. There's a battalion detachment of Death Skulls. There's a war boss. There's another war boss. There's a bunch of 10 boys. There's, in fact, 3 lots of 10 of them. And then there's 2 lots of 7 knobs in there. There's a knob with a war banner, and then there's a big old truck. But then this is where it gets really fun. His Death Skull Specialist Detachment, Cult of Speed, his Fast Attack Detachment. He's got a Death Killer War Trike. He's got those 6 knobs who we saw moving very aggressively.
Yeah.
But then he's got the Boomdacker Snazwagon.
Nice.
He's got the Custom Booster Blaster, the Mega Track Scrap Jet, and of course he's got the Shock Jump Dragster. From this point on, I'll only be describing them as the Zoomies 1, 2, 3, and 4 because I'm never saying those names live again.
You've got to say them all in a row really, really quickly.
He's also got 2 Bone Breakers, which are the big vehicles that.
These are the Bone Breakers here, I believe.
And then he's also got he's got a custom Mega Cannon Mech Gun, and he's got a Smasher Gun as well. So very fun. The list you can see in the chat. And it's the same list that we saw previously for the Necron army as well. Look at those beautiful... Look at that. Gritty, gross, horrible Uruk army up against the beautiful Necrons.
Yeah, well, I think the problem that the Orc army is going to have is it's very, very quick. It's obviously seized on the initiative. It's got right up close to the Necron army. Caught them off guard with their advanced deployment. The Necrons are assuming they're going to go first to get some shots in first. The problem that the Orcs are going to have charging the Necrons is that a lot of the Necrons are armed with Tesla weapons. So if they do Overwatch, they're going to explode into multiple hits. And the Orcs don't have much armor, so any hits they get are going to do some damage to them. And I can't. If we go back to the top-down scriver, we can see what units the Necron player George has on his front line. We can see here he's got the Tomb Blades, so even if they do get charged by that Bone Breaker, they're going to be able to fly off and still shoot. But if they get killed, if he piles into the Test of Immortals, that's going to be bad news for George.
Let's get some cinematic shots first. Let's have a look at these. Let's have a look at this Romy cam and see if that's working.
We're going to test the Rome cam.
Yeah.
There we go. Destroyer Lord from last game there.
Oh, it's just look at that. Terrifying. It is held by our cameraman in training, Mr. Tom. Yeah.
Very cinematic Annihilation Barge on there. There's Knob Bikers just running in.
Yeah, lovely. Look at them. They're going to go and murder. That's fun. Great work there, Tom. Fantastic job. Thank you. Nick, what do you think his plan is going to be for...
Well, the Orc plans are always very, very complicated and complex. Obviously take years in the making, but I think it's just going to be run and smash.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. So
very complex.
We're still seeing... Oh, here we go. We're going over to table 2. We're going over to table 2 right now, where we have seen another... Let's find out from our table boss. Let's go to the audio from our table boss, and let's find out what he can find out from table 2 right now.
So I think what's just happened on table 2 is we've had a second season. Did you just see his name, good sir?
I did, yes.
How do you feel about that?
Pretty good.
Let's go and find out what your opponent thinks about that. Let's go. We don't normally like to do interviews with people who are very upset, but still. So, have you just been seized on?
Yes, I have been seized on, yes.
How do you feel about that?
It's been difficult to take, but I think I'll get over it.
Alright, so it appears that the least likely scenario is to not get seized on this round. So speaking of which, on table 1 I've got some information for you guys which you can maybe roll with. So what's happened on table 1 is nobody has seized on table 1. It's spectacular, I love it. But we've also seen a Kion immediately popped by David, a Tau player, which means that he gets full rerolls to hit for everyone within 6 inches, but those units can't move. Now, normally, that's a big deal for Tau, because you're only 30 and 36 inch range. But because he's Borcan, everything gets a plus 6 inch range on their guns, which means he can sit there in the middle of the board and still be in range of that Astraeus, and hopefully do a lot of damage. We'll see how that goes. Back to you guys. You'll be alright. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Iron hands aren't known for shooting, are they?
Decent terrain as well, so it's doesn't really hide.
Commander who's called the Kions, giving them reroll hits.
Okay, so you guys heard none of that, and you heard our infield reporter there. So start again. And I hope you guys I don't know what was being offered on the table there. I think it was free drinks.
Oh, I think I was giving my credit card details out.
Yeah, that's fine. So, listen, what we've just seen on this is an Iron Hands army with an Astraeus battle tank. That's at the back here. And tell me about this Astraeus battle tank. It's also got in the list, which you can find in the chat, there's a Relic Leviathan Dreadnought, and that Relic Leviathan Dreadnought is...
I think he's over here, the Dreadnought here. So the Astraeus... It's super heavy. It has 24 wounds, toughness 8, so it's kind of like a knight in that regard. But it's got a 2+ save, and it's got a void shield generator, so that can save wounds from. So it's like an invulnerable save, but it can also save mortal wounds as well. But that degrades with its profile. So it starts at a 5+, then goes to a 6+, and then a 7+, weirdly, as it's almost dead. But because it's an Iron Hands Astraeus, it's going to be on its middle or top bracket for most of the game. And he's also got Ferius here, hanging around near the Astraeus to fix it up if it gets wounded. So the guns it has, it's got a... it's also a repulsor, so it's got a grav along here, so it's minus to the charge, so it's difficult to charge it. We probably won't see that this game with the Tau. So the guns it has got an Iron Hail Heavy Stubber, which is just 3 shots, strength 4. A Las Ripper, which is 2 strength 8 Las cannons that are flat damage 3. Got some storm bolters and some heavy bolters, but its main gun is the twin macro accelerator cannon. It's 72-inch range, heavy 12, strength 8, AP 2, damage flat 3. But importantly for this game, it's going to ignore any minus modifiers for targeting units with the fly keyword. So that's really good against flyers or battle suits that have the fly keyword.
Yeah, so
which this Tau player has lots of.
So look at those 2 Cold Star commanders here that have come in.
Sorry, those are the
Ghost Kills. So Ghost Kill here, Ghost Kill here, Ghost Kill here. I think that actually the commanders have ended up moving here.
Yeah, they have, it looks like.
That's interesting. So their fusion blasters are 24 inches, if I'm right.
I believe they are 18 for the fusion blasters, because they're basically melter guns.
That's really interesting. So they're definitely... Oh, I see what they're doing. So they're definitely not looking to hit for this turn.
No.
What they're going to use is the Ghost Keels, because these Leviathans are actually fairly slow. Okay, so no, they're not. Or maybe they are, maybe they're looking. So what they're doing is they're being held off to shoot, but over here is a Thunderfire cannon as well.
Oh no, I think there's a Thunderfire cannon in this ruin.
Oh.
Or is it on there? So I think Rob's right in terms of the Ghost Kill. So then there's the three Ghost Kills here. It looks like they're running interference turn 1. And it looks like Marcin is lining up these Cold Star commanders for next turn to jump in and try and finish off the Astraeus. I imagine he wants to kill it in 1. because the Iron Hands player does have Ferios nearby, so it's going to be hard to chunk wounds off it. But what he doesn't want to give Terrence the chance to do is to fix it up. He wants to kill it in one round if he can.
Right, and so our final game that we haven't looked at yet, Table 2. So we'll go have a look at this. So this is Table 2. We'll go to our table boss now. He'll give us all the information, what we're looking at, and what we've seen in this very first turn.
So effectively, with that seize roll, what's essentially happening with the Iron Hands, they're pushing up, getting ready to do as much damage as possible. He's cast a Psychic Power on top of his Dreadnought with the last cannon over there that's going to be firing at the Knights right now. He's just rolling that out, so he's re-rolling ones to hit for Iron Hands, and then he's hitting on 2s because of his Psychic Power. And he's also cast the Iron Stone on his Leviathan, which means it now takes -1 damage as well. So he's prepped for a hit back, but he's also trying to do as much damage as possible to these Knights before they get a chance to hit him with all those nasty, nasty thermal cannon. Passing it back to you guys.
Okay, so it's looking fun. It's looking fun. Let's talk about the lists, or more importantly, what's a big deal on this Table 2. The Iron Warriors army, but Chaos Space Marines. You know, normally you hear Iron, you think hands, but no, these are warriors. They've got 2 Chaos Dorado Dreadnoughts.
Yeah, they're really strong choices in a Chaos army. Because they've got quite good reach with their Butcher Cannons.
They're here right now.
Yeah, 36 inches with those Butcher Cannons, and they've got like quite a cool rule. So if you do damage to a unit, it increases their morale check that they have to take by an extra 2. So they're more likely to flee from units that have been shot by a Butcher Cannon. And also they have a Greater Havoc Launcher on the back, which is a artillery piece, so you can shoot things out of line of sight. Which Chaos have limited access to those kind of things, so it's always useful in an ITC game to have that type of weapon in your arsenal.
Well, especially as you know there are going to be Thunderfire cannons you're going to have to shoot at some point, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So they give you the opportunity to do that. He also has got 3 Knight Despoilers.
He does.
2, which you can see there, obviously the big Knights. 2 of which are Dreadblades. How do you feel about that?
Well, Dreadblades are actually pretty good. It's kind of the Chaos equivalent of Free Blades, and Imperial Free Blades. You don't really see them that often because they're not particularly great. But Dreadblades have got quite a lot of good buffs. So one example is you can give them a Dreadblade trait where you can reroll hits against characters. I don't believe he's chosen that this time. If I remember correctly, he's given one of his. So he's got 2 Dreadblades. One's been given an artifact, which gives it a 5+ invulnerable in combat and also an additional trait. So effectively, one of them has +1 ballistic skill, and one of them has +1 weapon skill. And then both of them have reroll wounds of 1 on units with 8 or more wounds. So basically, it looks like he's taking that so he can focus fire on the Leviathan at some point.
So yeah, so the army he's up against is an Iron Hands army. It's got everything you expect that Iron Hands army to have. It's obviously got the Relic Leviathan Dreadnought. It's got a Thunderfire Cannon. It's not whether or not Space Marines will win this event. It's which Space Marines will win this event. Going over to Table 2 though, with the Tau versus Table 1. Sorry, the Tau versus the Astraeus, because that's really what the battle is. We've got some information coming now from our table boss.
So what I was expecting on Table 1 actually hasn't occurred this turn. What David's looking to do is, rather than going all in on the Astraeus, which is what I expected, he's going hunting for little bits and bobs over there as well, in the corner. So, in that corner that has the Cold Star battlesuits next to it, he has 1 Thunderfire Cannon on the side of the Iron Hands, and 1 Chapter Master on a bicycle. He has now just shot the Tech Marine, meaning the Thunderfire Cannon has completely disappeared. That Thunderfire Cannon is kaput, it is no more. And the Bike Commander behind that hill is also being shot by 1 Ghost Keel and 2 Commanders. Last time I checked, it had taken 2 wounds. He's now going to be rolling some more shots into that Commander, seeing if that one can be removed. So we've gone for a half and half section over here, where we're looking to see how much damage we can apply to the little units in the corners, going hunting for those kills, rather than hunting for that Astraeus and doing some severe damage to that thing. Instead, we're ignoring it, and we're going for a little bits instead. That's pretty much the state of play at the minute. We haven't fired that massive brick of Tau in the centre yet either. We're going to have to see what that does when it comes to it. Maybe David doesn't think he needs it. Who knows? We'll find out soon. I'll get back to you guys when I have that information. Over to you.
Okay, yeah, welcome back. It's looking really, really tense on that table. That's going to be a big game. I want some cinematic shots of this. Yeah,
can we get a shot of the Tau Castle or the? That looks like I love the Chaplain Dreadnought. I think it's a smart play by the tower player to not get suckered into shooting the Estrella straight away. I think he's a really smart play to take out the Tech Marine, because the Tech Marine is actually easier to kill if you can get him, obviously, as a character. But if you can get him, unlike what we just heard from Tom, the table boss, he's killed the Tech Marine, and that means that the Thunderfire Cannon will be destroyed if there's no Tech Marines within 6 of him. So the Tech Marines have got 4 wounds, toughness 4, rather than the Thunderfire Cannon being toughness 6 with 4 wounds. I believe that these Riptides are going to go for the Leviathan, because I don't think, because there's the famous Nova L here, I think that's getting in the way of them shooting the Astraeus. But I think they're going to go for the Leviathan if they're all in range. If they just put enough shots into it, they might be able to get it. Although the battle cannons that they have are damage 2, and I believe that Ironstone was used on the Dreadnought, so that's going to limit their
there we go. There's our live infield. This is like a neuromancer just being in there, just sending us our infield report. Just be a bit slower with that. Just do some on-the-job training. There we go. But there lovely. Look at them. Now that's the danger from the tower, right? Those 3 battle suits are going to do some really solid work at range. And as stated, because they're Borkan, they've got that extra 6-inch, so they've got 42-inch threat range.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Those terrors. Yeah, they're really, really good. Those are the people that you're going to have to threat. They're going to be looking to do damage to that Atreus heavy assault tank, right?
Yeah, but it looks like that he's trying to work on all the other little bits that he can early on, because he's taken Old School as his one of his secondaries. So I think if he went for the Astraeus, there is a chance that he probably would have to put most of his army into it, and if he didn't get the kill, he'd miss out on that kill point, and he'd also miss out on that Old School point.
And look
as
at
well.
that! Look at those! That Relic Leviathan Dreadnought eyeing up those ghost kills, looking to murder them, and most importantly, looking to get to the Cold Star battle suits that are just behind, right? With all of the characters behind, giving him all of the buffs. Those battle suits that you can see just at the back there, they are looking to womp forward and get that kill. Whether or not they'll get it, that's the question. Okay. I mean, there's lots to play for on that tabletop. Tau obviously put their shield drone wall out.
Yeah.
Loads. But now we're going to table 2 because we've got some updates from our table boss right now.
What we were really looking for on this table 2 was for a lot of damage to be put down on these knights. So the Iron Hands army has walked up, Iron Shields have been rotated on the first knight, and they've had a big shoot at that knight. The Mortis Dreaders fired at it, the Thunderfire Cannons have fired at it, we're now getting the Intercessors firing at it, and so far 10 wounds have been removed. We haven't had the Intercessors conclude yet, so there's probably still going to be some more damage applying, although as I say that, it looks like we're finishing up our turn, because crucially, the Leviathan cannot see a thing. That Nova L is causing some massive problems for the Iron Hands right now. They've walked up, they've had to try and have a shoot, but the Leviathan cannot do anything to these Knights of the line of sight blocking terrain on display at the minute. That has been able to completely block line of sight to all of the Knights. It's caused some massive problems for the Iron Hands. So, now we're going to have the Chaos Knights turn 1. It's going to be pushing up towards these Iron Hands, I would imagine, and we're going to see what kind of damage they can do in return. Back to you guys on the desk.
I'd imagine that those Knights are going to do some pretty serious damage to these Intercessors. But all 3 of these Knights are rocking double thermal cannon each, so that's going to be 2d6 melter shots. It's going to rip straight through their armor, although the Iron Hands player does have Ferrier, so they're going to have that 5+ invulnerable save on the Intercessors. But obviously each shot is going to be d6 damage, which is going to hopefully rip through those 2 wounds. You need a lot of damage to get through the Iron Hands DPR save as well. Because for example, if you put any damage 2 weapons into the Intercessors, there's always that chance that damage 2 is going to be inefficient because they're going to save that 1.
Look, there's loads to happen on that table, I know for a fact, and we've got some score updates.
Yeah.
But look, we left a very early straight-in charge on table 3. Orks versus Necrons. Let's go back to table 3. As you can see, Orks seized. They went in, we saw charging this top left-hand corner. We also saw this battle wagon make a charge as well.
That's so orky, just ramming in your vehicle.
Just ramming it in. The Necrons having to deal with it. We're going to find out. We're going to find out in a moment from our table boss.
It looks like because there was the Destroyer Lord that we recognised on last game. which went on the own little rampage down the right-hand flank of these Iron Hands. It was the MVP of the Necron army last game, but it looks like it's been removed super early this game.
It has. I mean, MVP is strong considering the last game. I mean,
it probably killed a model, which is pretty good for the Necron army.
However, we are now going to find out what's been happening in that game since we last visited by our table boss Tom.
What is dead may never die, Nikos. That thing can still get back up at the end of the phase. It has got the ability to stand back up as a character for the Necrons. It was having a nice chill in the corner of that ruin, and as soon as it's ready to get going, a big death roller comes flying through the side of the building and flattens it. Now, it might not be totally flattened, it might get back up. So what's happened is, these Orks have moved up towards this side of the board, 2 Banebreaker battle wagons have come through, and 6 Ork Nobs on bikes. The Nobs on bikes have managed to get through and charge one of the Doomsday Arcs, and only one of the battle wagons made their charge. So it's tagged up some of these Tomb Blades, which of course have the fly keyword so they can jump out, and it's ran over that Destroyer Lord. We'll see if that gets back up, and I'll bring the information as soon as it does. Unfortunately, though, for Neil, the other Bonebreaker failed its charge on a double 1, so it wasn't even worth command point rerolling either of the dice, and it doesn't get the Here We Go rule, meaning it can't reroll either of its charge dice. But that's pretty much the state of play on table 3. I'm going to go and have a look at the other tables. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
Nick, you're the sort of person, you play Necrons a lot. You'd know, like, is this a position that the Necrons can fight back from? Are they used to taking this punch, or do they need to keep the opponent away?
I think it's going to be. So George is going to need to have a really good turn. He's probably going to need to fall back as fast as he can, because obviously the Orks are super quick. All these buggies are really quick. They're going to be up in his grill next turn, so he's going to take a lot more charges than he did this turn. So I think what George needs to do, he needs to identify what are the most dangerous combat threats to me. I think he's got time to ignore these buggies because they're quite quick, but they're not that punchy in combat. Apart from the Mecha Jet one, I can't remember his name, Mecha Scrapjet one.
The Scrapjet Mecha Jet.
Yeah, I think he needs to focus on these
Scrapjet.
Knob Bikers. Yeah, that one.
That one.
Not the Snaz Dazzle wagon.
The Snaz Dazzle wagon is the best.
So he'll need to focus on those Knob Bikers, I think, and probably these Bone Breakers. And I think he's got the tools to do it. He's got the Destroyers. And what Tom was mentioning earlier is the Destroyer Lord in that ruin that was killed by the Bone Breaker. There's a Necron stratagem that you can use on a character. It's called Resurrection Protocols. I think it's 2 CP, and on 4+, your character gets back to life on D3 wounds.
Well, so I think one of the things that we haven't really seen or talked about yet is obviously inside those battle wagons is 7 knobs apiece. Yeah. So they are combat monsters. Well, they're not monsters, but they do decent in combat. However, problematically, getting them across the board is quite rare. So it's nice that those 2 big vehicle trucks, those delivery systems, are there to bring them in. So they've obviously moved in here. So there's some good combat that can potentially be aimed in as well. And now all of the backline shooting that can come from all of these vehicles, can start hammering away. Problem is I'm not 100% certain he has enough individual firepower to do what you need to do with a Necron force. A unit is just take the unit out completely, right?
Yeah, unless he can get all of his combat to bear on a particular unit, pick on it, they're just going to keep coming back. He's using the resurrection protocols. One sneaky thing that George could attempt is obviously those knobs in this truck. If he destroys the truck, they have to get out within 3 inches of the truck, but 1 inch away from enemies. What he could consider is trying to fly the Tomb Blades around like this, and then also surround this side of the truck. So when it explodes, there's no space for them to get out, meaning they'd be automatically destroyed. But the danger of that is it puts his Tomb Blades closer to the rest of the Ork army.
Yes. Okay, well, look, loads to play for. I'm really looking forward to the counterpunch. Very Orky sees that combat. They did exactly what Neil said that they were going to do, those Ork knobs on bikes, which is nothing.
Not a lot.
He said
they might have done a few cheeky wounds, but they've not killed it. So.
They've not killed it, not outright. Not like those Relic Leviathan Dreadnoughts. Over, though, on Table 2, there's the Tau shooting phase, yeah? Oh, Table 1, sorry. On Table 1, that Tau shooting phase, which is devastating, potentially, but we've got loads of information to come from our table boss. Let us know.
Looks like we might be in the Iron Hand shooting phase, I think.
I think we might be in the Iron Hand shooting phase, but we need to
something.
We need to find out what happened in the Tau shooting phase first. So over our table boss.
So we're currently in the Iron Hands movement phase at the minute, which is basically we're working out what exactly the Iron Hands are going to be able to shoot at, because as we're already seeing, the Tau have already finished shooting. So we were talking a little bit earlier about how the commanders were going hunting for units. They've managed to kill the bike captain with the smashy hammer. They've managed to kill the Thunderfire cannon in the corner as well, and they've managed to apply 5 wounds to the Leviathan Dreadnought. So, that means that we still have quite a lot of the firepower available for the Iron Hands, but if you actually look at the state of play here, those Riptides are quite significantly shorter than that L in the middle, and because of the way these Ghost Keels are positioned, right next to that Astraeus, there's no way for it to move around the L next to it and get line of sight on the side one, which is going to make life very, very tricky for removing these Riptides. You can get the Leviathan in as well, you can move it round the corner, but you'd have to expose it a little bit there as well, and you still have those shield drones that you need to get through. It's going to be a tough question. I think what's going to happen is the Iron Hands are going to try and remove all the stuff in their center. They probably can't get to the commanders because of the allocation of their shooting, in terms of they have to remove the units close to them and then they can kill the commanders. So I'm looking at these Ghost Kills. I'd assume they're going to go down. I mean, any extra damage is a bonus. Looking to see how much damage they can apply after those Ghost Kills to go down. What do you guys think? Back to you.
Well, yeah, I think it's a tough time if you're an Iron Hands, maybe.
Yeah, I think we were probably expecting the Leviathan Dreadnought to go down. I'm pretty surprised that only 5 damage was done to that. I think all the Ghost Kills have got big melter guns basically, and the Cold Star Commanders have got some fusion blasters that will be coming in next turn. I really think that next turn is the time that Marcin's going to really push to twist the knife on Terrence, because I think he's just set up these 2 Cold Star Commanders to jump in next turn. I really think that's going to happen. I think these Ghost Kills are naturally -1 to be hit, so that might keep them alive just enough.
I mean, there's a lot of rerolling to hit and rerolling wounds there.
There is, that's true. And Space Marine's got the new version of reroll hits, which you can reroll all any hits. It doesn't mean failed hits. I can't wait for everybody else's rules to catch up to be the same.
Yes, they are so good. I mean, I'd be okay if Tau's rules don't catch up.
And Eldar. That's fine. That's fine with me. They can still stay in the cold.
Yeah, but the Orks can do with some new rules all day long. So we're in the Psychic phase currently for Iron Hands.
Yeah.
For Iron Hands, and we've seen Reforge has just been cast on the Relic Leviathan there. So looking to help that out. What do you think is going to be his focus for his targets for the shooting? Is it going to be the Ghost Kills?
It's got to be the Ghost Kills.
It can't be these, right? Because as stated, they're out of the way.
Yeah, and so Marcin in his first turn, he used his Kion straight away. So he's not. So when you use that, you have to stand still to get all the reroll hits. So next turn, it looks like he will be moving around the board. So he'll probably move this way, do some sort of pincer movement with the Cold Stars and the Ghost Kills going in onto the Astraeus.
Okay.
But again, we'll see whether we focus on the Leviathan or the Astraeus.
Well, I mean, my focus and my heart is absolutely over on table 3 at the moment. Those Necrons versus Orks. Who's going to win it? It's the bottom table bash. That's what we're calling it. The
table
BTB. Bash. Yeah, we're going to find out now from our table boss, Tom, on what info has been going down.
I mean, my heart goes out to George as well, my friend, at the minute, because this is looking... I wouldn't say it's looking terrible for George, but he hasn't really had the luck with him at this point. What's essentially happened is, while we were talking about the Destroyer Lord earlier, they got ran over with the Death Roller. Well, that Destroyer Lord did not get back up, which means that 1 unit has died for Old School, for Neil and his Orks. It also means that poor George's Warlord has also died, which means that now 2 Old School points have gone through to Neil for First Strike and for Slaver Warlord. And obviously, Destroyer Lord, some good counter-charge potential there. Has not got back up to do the damage you'd expect. It looks like George is moving into his movement phase now, though. He's going to be trying to push out, trying to remove as many of these Death Rollers as he can. Not sure how that's going to go. They are quite heavily wounded. They are quite decent on the head as well. That's pretty much a state of play over there. The Knobs on the bike were not able to kill the Doomsday Ark. It does look like they applied some wounds to it. It looks like 7 wounds have been kicked off that Doomsday Ark, and that Doomsday Ark is now reversed, meaning it's not going to get its massive gun profile, but it's still going to get to at least shoot, thanks to its flyer keyword. That's pretty much a state of play on table 3. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I think I only want Orks. I only want Orks to win events. That's what I think, Nick.
Yeah.
But
we have talked about before running an Ork-only event, so maybe one day we'll be able to do that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an event, though. It would be a Warvent.
A Warvent.
Pushing it a little bit, I reckon. Yeah, that's still a bit of the old Games Workshop employee me pushing out. Just terrible puns. So, let's look at the state of play. What do you think?
So the Knob Bikers, exactly as Neil said, they weren't very good. They went in, they didn't kill their target. The Annihilation Barge is still left alive. It did mean that it had to fall back, so as Tom said, it can't shoot its big weapon at full profile. When an Annihilation Barge moves, it has to shoot on its weaker version. If it stays still,
it can't just fall back, shoot, and then also maybe shoot in the psychic phase.
No, there's no double shooting mechanics in the Necron army.
Wow.
Some would say that's like a nicely balanced army, which doesn't.
All right, so I think it's a fantastically painted army as well.
Yeah, it's a cool colour scheme.
Yeah, very cool colour scheme, very Egyptian. So will those gas shooters, flayers, be able to do the work? Probably not.
Well, I think they're pretty decent against Orks because they're AP1, so mostly Orks only have a 6-up save, so they're actually pretty good weapons against these Orks, I think. It looks like he's moved his Tomb Blades up here. He's not doing the plan that I said of surrounding this truck, unless he's planning weirdly to leave it on a couple of wings and charge it in combat.
The destroyers here, they're going to go in, right?
Yeah.
Or they're going to shoot. Sorry.
They are going to shoot something.
Surely he's got to be cautious of these. I mean, these are very cheap. The buggies. Most of them are like 100, sub 100 points. So having those be able to charge in and lock up these shooting units could be a thing. But obviously they fly.
Yeah. So he's not going to be able to stop them shooting unless they're all dead. I think what George could try is just basically splitting fire with his destroyers. He could put 2 on each truck, so it'd be 2 on one of those, and just go for the gamble. Because you get the destroyer protocols with this stratagem to reroll all your hits and your wounds. And I don't think the buggies have that many wounds. They're only about 8 wounds apiece, maybe 10. So if he gets a bit lucky, he could actually get quite a few multi-kills.
Can we also talk about George's secondaries choice? George clearly knows he's up against an Ork player because he's decided to go for none of the nothing like recon or engineers. He's gone, I'm up against Orks.
He knows he's going to be pushed back into his own deployment zone.
So he's like, I'm going headhunter, I'm going big game hunter, I'm going butcher's bill. Yeah, I'm all and that means he's going to have to take out those trucks. Look at that Necron Lord commanding the destroyers. You must murder. Obey me and murder.
My will be done.
So he knows he's up against it. He knows that he's going to have to get involved in the fight. So he's taken at the start of the game. He knew how this game was going to go, right?
So I think big game hunter. Obviously, Neil has a lot of vehicles that he can tilt. So there's a plethora of vehicles for him to choose from to get those points. So they're relatively weak vehicles compared to his last opponent with Iron Hand. So they're relatively easier kills to get. And also he's gone for Butcher's Bill again. Obviously he chose that last time against the Iron Hands, and again they're much more resilient, harder to get those kills. But with this Ork list, there's lots of little kills for him to pick off. So I feel pretty confident he's going to be able to get Butcher's Bill maxed out throughout this game.
Yeah, so whether or not you can get Big Game Hunter as well, right? That's going to be the stress. The lists are in the chat if you guys want to go check out the lists. I think I'd like to know what's happening on Table 2 sometime soon. Because
we want to see what those knights have been up to.
Table 2. So there we go. The knights have pushed out. So the Iron Hands
a significant amount less intercessors than there was before.
Yeah. So the Iron Hands have had their turn. They went first, and they were not obviously able to take out either of the 3 knights or the Dorado. So there's loads. Let's find out what happened from our table boss in the shooting phase, turn 1. For the Iron Hands.
What specifically happened in that turn was quite a bit of a bloodbath. We've lost quite a few models on the Iron Hand side, but we haven't really got to the big juiciness. The only exception would probably be the squad of 3 suppressors. They have all gone down to the Knights. In addition, 1 Eliminator has gone down from the Eliminator squad hiding behind the Arched Rock, and then 5 Intercessors and a squad of 5 Scouts that were hiding inside the Ruin. That means you've now got a little bit more board pressure. It doesn't really matter too much when it comes to Deep Striker because you don't have any. but you are limiting the amount of ability the Iron Hands have to move around the side and try and pick up objectives. Now, what this essentially means is we're on for a crash course in the center where we see how much damage these two armies can take. We're just going to ram them together and see how much damage they can do to each other. We are going to be getting into the Iron Hands turn pretty soon, I believe, and seeing how much damage we can do back to the Knights, but at the minute, just looking for like first blood to the Knights in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think realistically I'm going to have to agree with that. Like, actually, it looks like a very strong position.
Definitely.
This L again is going to... this L is going to protect there, do some... I think the Knights are in a very ascendant position in this game.
Yeah, I think they're in a good position. What it looks like he's doing... obviously, Tom said that he's killed some scouts and things like that, because the Chaos player has got the Obliterators coming in. So I think he wants to reduce... Mike's ability to zone out the board for them to come in next turn.
Yeah, so those Obliterators are marked to Slanesh, obviously.
Yep.
So they're going to be firing twice.
Yep.
So he's going to be watching out for that. There you go. He's done a charge. So as you can see, he's charged there.
Okay, so what Mike did, a slight mistake that Mike might have made here, he's got this Intercessor squad here, and it was within an inch of this ruin. So that allowed Richard to get the charge off. Whereas if Mike just... Again, went into the cover, but just sort of said to his opponent, I'm 1.1 inches away from this wall, he would have been unchargeable, unless the Knight got a big charge to go round.
Absolutely, there we go. Big in. Great camera work, Scrivo. Super happy with you. You're a legend. Right, so while we're waiting to see how that combat resolves and what Iron Hands can do against the evil chaos, we'll find out what is happening with that Atreus. What is happening, and we'll go straight over to our table boss now and give us the goss.
So what's ended up happening over here is we were talking earlier about whether or not they'll be able to get to those commanders. Now, they haven't been able to get to those commanders, but we have racked up a lot of points. There are 3 Ghost Keels that are punching the Iron Hands in. We're talking about that and their ability to block off the Astraeus from hitting the Riptides. All 3 of those Ghost Keels have now gone down. One went straight down to the Astraeus, one went down to 1 wound from the Astraeus, and then got picked off by the little bits of Iron Hand stuff hiding behind the L, and then the Leviathan picked off the 3rd Ghost Keel. Alongside pushing him away, that is 3 marked for death points over to the side of the Iron Hands. What it does mean is that those Tower Commanders are now completely free to do whatever they want next turn. They've still got the ability to jump over and advance and do some mega damage to that Astraeus, but we're going to have to see what they're going to do, because I'm interested to see whether he goes for the Leviathan, whether he goes for the Astraeus, or whether he just goes to hide. Could be any of those 3 options. I'm interested to see what he does. What do you guys think he'll do?
So, yeah, great. Sweet work there, table boss. What are they? There they are. They're the 2 culprits. They're the they're the people that we need to be worrying about. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult situation. I think the Leviathan's got less wounds. They're relatively they're the same toughness. They're both toughness 8, but the Astraeus probably has the Ironstone on it, which is going to reduce the damage of the fusion guns and the Riptide guns. So I'd be tempted to probably take out the Leviathan first, and then work on the Astraeus. But maybe he just goes for broke, just throws those both in there, tries to kill the Leviathan first, and if he has anything left, then go for the Astraeus. So I think I would, depending on which the Ironstone is on, this or this, I'd go for the other one with the Riptides, because they've got damage to burst cannons.
So do you think it's going to be an all play here? These 2 there... Oh, no, it's okay. So the target that we see now, the Astraeus, the Riptides go and focus that. The 2 Cold Stars go in there. They focus on the Leviathan, and then it's just a wipe, basically. It's a big shooting phase. And don't forget, in the turn before, he called Monkar, right?
He did, yeah.
So that was all his re-rolling, so he won't be doing that again.
No, because I don't think he's got Shadow Sun, so you can do it twice with her, but he doesn't have that. So it does look like he's going for a bit of a move. So like I said, I think it depends on what Terrence put the Ironstone buff on. I think he'd just go for the other one, because you damage 2 weapons on your burst cannons, you're getting maximum value out of those on the other one.
Yeah, I think, honestly, we might see this, not to hype it up too much, but it is exciting. And look, at those drones are moving, so that gives some indication of what's going to happen. I reckon Marcin is going to go for the big play. Either he's going the big play and he's bringing them out, or he's going to go conservative. Protect himself in here, protect himself that way, and then maybe also do the same here as well with these. Wait a turn, let these pop out. Not forgetting that they're obviously holding objectives as well, so that's pretty good for him. he's looking for recon, so he's looking for taking up parts of the board. He's also got old school. I don't know. The question is he going in or is he not? What do you think?
Well, I think at the minute it doesn't really. I don't think he's going to go in this turn. He's going to sneak. This is the quarters of board. He snuck into this quarter with 1 drone, so he doesn't need to go in this turn if he wants to. He's got that table quarter. He probably needs to keep something in this table quarter as well, unless he's planning to use those drones as well to throw those coal stars in. I do think, like we saw in the last round with the Tau player, we've had 1 coal star commander. I do feel like these 2 are just going to go in this turn. I reckon that's going to happen.
Oh, I don't think it is. I think he's going to hide them. I think he's going to hide them, and I think that initial play, putting this battlesuit here, I think that's showing us that he's going to make a very conservative move. I think that's...
The coal-star commanders are really sort of threatening because they've got such a massive move, 20 inches.
But
it's
they
almost
can go
like
to 40, right?
Yeah, so you're going 40 inches. It's almost like the Eldar flyers. Like if you leave a character behind your lines and you don't account for the flyer flying in behind you and sniping off that character, it's kind of a similar situation with these. Because they've got such high strength, high damage weapons, they can go in and snipe a character. And these guys have got smaller base than a flyer, so it's much easier to do with them. Oh, it looks like so we're seeing where the cold star are going. He's measuring it up. Martin, there I just sort of spotted him on the table, measuring up where his cold stars are going to go.
Yeah, okay. I want to stay with this game right now. I know there are 2 very exciting games happening, but I think this is a pivotal moment in the strategy. We're either waiting a turn or we're not waiting a turn. That's the real question.
To just reposition his drones a little bit more.
Okay, let's just hold on here. All right, yeah, let's go to it. Table 2. Let's get a quick update. Let's get a quick update. Table 2. Let's find out what's happened from our table boss right now.
So what's essentially happening on table 2 is a little bit of checking of the micro movements. We're having a look to see if the 2 remaining intercessors from the center unit were in range of that objective in the center to hold it. I'm not entirely sure of the outcome of that right now because I don't want to intervene while we're talking about something. The intercessors, yes. The intercessors were in range of the center objective. However, the reason we're having to check this is because we've had 2 charges go off. One through the center where 1 knight has come through, kicked 3 intercessors in the face, and they have gone down. And then in the corner as well where 3 eliminators were hiding within a ruin. This knight over in the corner has then removed all 3 of those eliminators. So that's a bunch more eliminators that have gone down as well. Lots of damage being done in the assault phase as well as the shooting phase, and we still have the obliterators to come down later on in the game. So that's a lot of damage in the bank for the knights. I think the momentum is going their way, so we really need something from the side of the Iron Hands to push it back in the other direction. We'll have to see if we can pull it out. What do you guys think they can do?
Thank you very much, everyone. Number 1, I never want to hear the sentence ever again. We need some good luck to go for the Iron Hands. No one wants that. No one wants that sentence said.
Not until the FAQ.
I mean, to be fair, the Iron Hand players do, and there are loads of you out there. But
well, to be fair to all Iron Hands players, I'm speaking on behalf of
as a long time
Iron Hands player. Yeah. We've been waiting a long time for this day. I've personally been waiting at least 60 years.
60?
Yeah, I've been playing them that long.
Yeah, it's true. And just to let you know, as a long-time Grey Knights player, I've been playing them since actually the Industrial Revolution. I think that they're great. Anyway, so we're seeing now, obviously we're going to be going into Chaos's turn, right? The Iron Warriors.
I think he's in a tough spot because Richard's been really smart again. He's used these
the Iron Warriors, not Iron Hands.
Those Nova L's to block off line of sight. So this blob of intercessors and the Leviathan are going to have to move. And Leviathan kind of going to get that far. I don't think he's seeing anything. He can come this way, maybe see through this rock formation on that knight. So I reckon that's about it. And I think this knight was the wounded one in the middle. But then we've just seen there from Scrivo, thanks Scrivo, he's moved up his Smash Captain. So it looks like the Smash Captain is going to go and try and finish this off. So I think the play that I would sort of think is gamble on your Smash Captain doing the work here on this knight, if it's wounded, and then work on a different knight. So what you don't want to do is maybe take this knight down to, let's say, for argument's sake, 1 wound, and then waste a Smash Captain doing 1 wound.
No. So, with that instead, I want to know what's happening in our bottom table battle.
Bottom table bash.
BTB. Yeah, bottom table bash. We're going over now to our infield report, Tom. Let us know what's happening right there.
I can tell you what's happening now, Rob. It is a mess. There are things everywhere. And the best way I can describe this is, you see these 2 bone breakers at the center of the board where Neil is now disembarking things from. They're essentially pinatas. Inside of these bone breakers, you have 7 knobs with a load of close combat weapons, 10 boys with a load of close combat weapons, a war banner in one of them, and a war boss in each of them, and then a weird boy in one that doesn't have a war banner. So that bone breaker that's at the front that ran over the Destroyer Lord so unceremoniously while they're picking bits of Destroyer Lord off the front, they also ripped the hull off. And out of the hull have poured about 20 very angry orcs, including 10 very large and very angry orcs. So they're jumping out right now. We've just used all the Tesla shots to remove it, so I don't know how many boys we're going to be able to remove before this turn is out. But that's a lot of boys, and they're very cross, and they're looking for a scrap. Let's see how much damage they do. Back to you guys.
I can't tell. I tell you, Angry Boys is one of my favourite shows, and it's also one of my favourite things to see on the Warhammer tabletop. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Listen, if you're going to be an angry, like maniacal, and absolutely monstrous threat in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, you want to be green, and you want to be shouting the word chopper a lot.
Yeah, you want to be a mean, green, fighting machine.
Absolutely. Butchers, or one and all. So those knobs, I think, can do some really, really good work.
You know, I think so. I believe this happened in the Necron shooting phase. What I would have been tempted to do if there was a character in one of these trucks, you could deploy the character outside the truck, but then within 3 of these Necrons. So if this Necrons didn't charge you, you could then heroically intervene into them, and then setting up your Orc boys charge next turn, because those 10 Orc boys, if there's 10 Orc boys there charging those Tesla, I've done that myself, and it doesn't end well for the Orcs, because a couple of 6s just tears through that unit, because obviously the Tesla explodes on the 6s, so each 6 becomes 3 hits.
Yeah, I think so as well. But there's still we still got these units to shoot, right? Or we're not sure about that.
We're
right
not
now?
100% sure what has or hasn't shot yet.
Because we're still in the shooting phase.
Yeah, so it depends
the removal
what
of
they've
the
got
truck
left.
is actually, the battle wagon, sorry, is actually a really big deal. I know it's not called a battle wagon because it's got the upgrade, so it's
I think it's the bone
actually
breaker.
a death roller. Oh, it's a bone breaker. So the shooting phase is over. So those orcs, having got out, are going to be.
So if that was the last shot, I think putting the character there so it could intervene would be a pretty smart play. I think
It would have been a
missed
really
a trick
smart
there.
play. He has. That's a really good shout.
He's being more brutal than cunning.
So I think, but I think he's going for pure brutal now, and there's a lot of threat that he can bring. These the orc knobs have not taken much damage. Whether or not we're going to see a charge come in here and try and engage with them, what do you think?
Possibly, but the knobs on bikes might have a score to settle with the annihilation barge that they didn't quite kill last turn, so they might want to finish it off. Look at this annihilation barge up here. It's been pretty cheeky. It's hiding on this ruin. I don't think anyone can charge it up there, so it's pretty safe.
That's good. That's clever. I think that's really smart. I think the Orcs are looking like they're in a really good position because they literally have used the Death Roller as a delivery system to die on purpose, like take all that damage and then deliver some, I think, pretty devastating output that we're about to see. And then they've got all of this pretty piecemeal shooting, but some of it is not bad, especially if it goes off. I know it's 5s, but it can work.
Yeah,
it can work.
The Mechatrack Scrapjet is actually pretty solid in combat with its like front nose drill. So that could go in and murderize some of the destroyers.
Yeah, it could do.
I think he's just got to send everything in.
You think he's got to send everything in?
Just get everything in combat. It's the Orc way.
It's the Orc way. Well, I think you're definitely going to lose these Immortals, right? I think that's. But what he's got is some big board presence. He's dominating the field. He's got all of this area here. I don't think the Necrons have got anything in reserve. I don't think so.
They've
got. Of course, they've got
the death marks. There's 30 death marks in reserve, which we've totally forgotten about until now. So that's going to be exciting to see.
Death marks, yeah. Which is why this Necron list is really cool. 30 death marks could land anywhere, and I think a really smart play is to. I mean, they definitely could do some work into this unit. I think, but they could threaten this backfield.
And that's also, again, why George has taken Headhunter, because he's pretty confident his death marks dropping down and finishing off those characters. There they are,
the death marks. They are ready. The 30 of them. We saw them drop down last time and kill 0 things. Not a model, not a dude, and not a person. But 0-0 is what he killed last time. But yeah, the Orks are currently on the move. On the move. So the Orks turn now, and they are engaged.
So yeah, there we go. The biker knobs, they had a score to settle with that annihilation barge, and they're continuing to chase. They're ignoring those the Tesla bikes at the back, the Tomb Blades. They're ignoring them and just running straight back. They're like, "Oi, where'd you go?" Straight back, smash the annihilation barge. So the Doomsday barge.
Oi, lads! Oh, I heard you've lived forever.
He's getting
I'm
away.
going to test that one, or I'm going to smash your head in. Yeah, so... right, let's jump over, because I want to know what did Massin decide to do. Yeah,
we want to know where those cold stars went.
Yeah, we want to know where the cold stars went, and look at that. Safety play.
Okay,
safety.
he's hitting
It's
them.
the double safety. He took them from here, and he moved them into the centre. Oh my God!
Maybe there's some juicy bits over here that he wants to get to next turn. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just ignoring these for now.
I reckon
going
he's
there.
just trying to box him in. I reckon he's just threatening him forever. Let's find out now what a table boss has got to tell us about the Tau turn that we're just seeing right now.
When I think you're being too defensive, that shows just how defensive you're being, because I love a good defensive play and hiding the entire game. So what's ended up happening here is, as we've spoken about, one of the cold stars has jumped back behind the ruin. The other one really does not like that Leviathan. It's had to go at that Leviathan with its fusion guns. It's not going to be within half range to get the 2d6 pick the highest damage. And what's happened is the Leviathan has popped the Duty Eternal stratagem for 1 command point, which means that every point of damage it takes, you halve it. So let's say the Fusion Blaster does 4 damage, you take 2 damage instead. That's okay. So that thing is incredibly durable right now, and what's really happening here for David is he's trying to remove it. He's not going for that Astraeus at all, he's just trying to slowly push his way up the board, reliant upon those drones, confident that he's not going to be able to get through too many of those drones. Although, we'll have to see. The question now isn't, can the Tau kill the Astraeus early? The question is going to be, how much damage can the Astraeus do, and how quickly can it do it? That is now the question for that game, and we'll see how it plays out. Back to you guys.
Well, so yeah, like a safety play, which is so unlike a Tau player, right? So like,
Yeah,
look
they're usually so aggressive and
such
forthright
a
and
classic Tau move.
running
Look at
straight
the
at
Ork game.
him.
Like the Ork game is like a turn 1, I seized and I'm in. The Tau's like, oh well, I've got the longest range guns in the world, but I'll just sit behind this ruin. So also that Duty Eternal being popped as well, reducing that damage. I honestly don't know what damage can be done to take out those backfield objectives, those backfield threats, right? But I don't think he's looking to keep the Astraeus or the Leviathan. I don't think he's looking to take him down. I think he's looking to just limit what they can even do in the game.
yeah, maybe he's like I said earlier, maybe he's setting up a little assassination from those Cold Star commanders. Maybe he wants to go and jump in, kill the guy who's wielding the Ironstone, kill Ferios. He's going to fix up the Astraeus. So when he does bring his guns to bear, they're more effective.
Yes, I think very much so. It's just it's a real cat and mouse game. Looking at what because we're now into Marcin's turn. That's not Marcin's turn. Terrence's turn, and Terrence is I think he's playing a blinding game. Like he's being conservative, he's being smart. Oh, is that a Cadra Flyer Blade? Is it hidden somewhere on the
Cheeky
tabletop? Where is he? He's somewhere on the tabletop. We'll find out where he is. Oh, he is at the back. So not going to be able to do.
Looks like he might be. Oh yeah.
Okay. So go on.
I think these. I was just going to say. I think these are markers that Marcin's come up with. They're quite like that. It looks like it's a turn wheel. Quite often, Tau players will just put a dice by the marker units.
But they can get knocked.
I quite like this. Yeah, exactly. They can get knocked over, but I quite like this use of a turn wheel to denote the number of marker lights. Ooh, seeing the Astraeus moving. I think that's his base on top of the hill. Looks like it's. Oh, there you go. You can see the marker lights turn dial there. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool. That's very
or,
cool.
or it might be a wound marker as well.
Two things at once. Okay. All right. Well, very good. So I don't think this game is gonna. Be over quick. We've got an hour 41 left on the clock. I personally. Oh wait, but no. I'm so sorry. Wrong. Look at who has decided to put it on the line. The Astraeus Heavy Battle Tank is on. Look at him. He flies and he's like, "Hello, welcome to the party. Correct, Twitch Village Idiot. If it fits, it sits. This is like a very aggressive cat. Yeah, he's curled up in a corner. Yeah, and he is ready. And look what he's gunning down. He is eyeballing those. But is he even going to be able to clear all those drones before he gets? Oh, who knows? Maybe he's just going to rely on his survivability. Maybe he's just like, I can just survive. Maybe he can just do anything. Anyway, right. So right now we've got some information to come about Table 2. In Table 2, in Game 2, which was we saw Iron Warriors, so Chaos Space Marines, going up against Iron Hands. So Iron Hands are in the bottom. Iron Hands went first, didn't do much. Iron Warriors at the top returned with those 2 Dorados and 3 Despoilers. Did great work, took out a bunch of Intercessors, and now we're going to find out what the Iron Hands have been able to do in their follow-up turn. We're going to go to our table boss now and find out the information.
I'll tell you what, the sight of that big expensive model wobbling on top of a ruin is making me really upset. On the other table, though, we have had a bit of a comeback from the Iron Hands here. The Mortis Dreadnought has fired into the Knight on the far side. It killed all the Eliminators in close combat, and it's done 15 wounds by itself in that corner. The remainder of the army did 3 wounds to it, and then everything else is fired into the Knight in the middle. That was previously on 14 wounds. It's now down to 4, and you see the big winged creature. That was rather weird. That is a Smash Captain, and that thing is ready to go in and mess up that Knight. Even if it doesn't, though, there's still a problem here. Chaos Knights do not have access to Machine Spirit Resurgent, which means that those Knights cannot act on full profile. So when you start getting them down wounds, you're going to be causing them a bit of a problem because they're not as effective as Imperial Knights would be at such a threshold. We do still have, however, the Obliterators. They're yet to come down, and we have the command points ready for an Endless Cacophony to make them fire twice, which can do horrendous amounts of damage to this Iron Hands line. It's going to be a bloody battle. It's going to be one of those where you're left with very few left standing on both sides, even if no Knight goes down, which I feel it will. It's going to be a close one, I think. What do you guys think of this game?
Well, listen, the true question of this game is, who is the real Iron something? Yeah. Iron within, iron without, but the answer is who's got the real iron? Yeah, the metal. You know, who's got the steel to get through this game? You know, who's going to be galvanized to get into this match?
Who's showing the most steel?
Yeah, that's the real question.
Steely
or will it be a
determination.
copper out? Who knows? That's be done. But there is a silver lining in this game, and that's that someone's going to win. That's it. I'm done.
We all win.
But all of those comments were gold.
I'll give you a...
Got any more
We'll stop there.
We'll stop there. All right, okay. Look, so those Chaos Dorados look awesome. They're at the back of the board, but a lot of their shooting is really going to be pinned down here by the elves. They can't see this kind of, like, at this stage, classic Iron Hands bunker. However, the Obliterators are coming down. As Tom has said, from the tabletop, those Knights are quite damaged. But at this point, Nick, talk to me about if anyone's a Knight player, it's my friend Nick, my co-commentator. There's a classic Knight tactic, which I've seen you use more than once. Yep. Let me tell you, I've got a Knight, he's got very few wounds left. Yep. What's your strategy?
Run him at you, maybe explode, or just get up again.
Run him at you, and then maybe explode. Oh, but he's dead.
Right, looks like so look, I think there's the Smash Captain in the middle there. Looks like he
he charged in.
Yeah, I think he went in and got both of them as well.
So he got the first one. Has he got the second one?
Possibly. It looks like this Knight is fighting back on the Smash Captain now. But Mike could use 3 CP. He looks like he's only got 1 CP remaining though, so he won't be able to fight again. So I'm not sure exactly why he's gone into that second Knight. Maybe he was just sort of trying to spread his damage, because this Knight was only on 4 wounds, so maybe he thought if I get a couple through on that, I'll smash that one. Because I don't think the Knights have it invulnerable in combat, or one of them does, because it's got the Dreadblade item, but potentially that one doesn't. Okay, so we're just hearing that the Knight did actually heroically intervene into that Smash Captain. So the Smash Captain just strayed a little bit too close. So when you're charging in, and you know there's characters around, you should always double check. You're charging this one, but always get your 3-inch measure out just to make sure you're 3.1 away from any characters when you're charging in. Unless you want them to heroically
with the Infun save and the DPR save, he's only taken the 1 wound.
Ooh, that's pretty nice.
Only taken the 1 wound. So that heroic intervene has put him in combat.
But he has basically just given away that Smash Captain now.
He has, but he got a knight out of it, and also that means that this knight isn't coming over here as well. Problem is those obliterators are coming down, but like, where are they coming down? They're not coming down here. There's a huge gap. They're not coming down here. There's then I think really it makes sense if Richard doesn't bring them out this turn as well.
You feel he can wait a little bit?
I think he can.
Well,
he can deal with his Smash Captain, which is what the really only threat. This Relic Leviathan can't hit anything. There's nothing in the way. Those guys are there. He could potentially move the knight. He could still charge in here, do some shooting, charge in to get him back out, use the dreadnoughts to take out the captain in the middle.
Yeah.
That's decent, I reckon.
Yeah, he definitely ought to use the dreadnoughts to take out the captain, because that 3+ invulnerable save, the high AP of the melters on the knights, I feel be wasted on that, because you could just get lucky. They don't get that many shots, so if you get a little bit lucky with the 3+ inv, no damage is going to go through. Whereas the Deradios have 8 shots each from their butcher cannons and then 3d3 each on the missiles. So they've just got they're just going to give this guy with a 3+ save lots of saves to make and hopefully get it. Looks like he's got 4 wounds left. I'd feel pretty confident that those Deradios are going to get it.
Yeah, I think the Deradios are going to absolutely butcher him with those butcher cannons. So they're going to take the name. But I can't wait for those obliterators to come down. That's going to be exciting. Okay.
Although I do feel like the obliterators could come in this time, because what Richard might want to do is just present Mike with as many threats as he can this time. Whereas if he leaves the obliterators off, it's just going to give Mike the chance to just focus fire on the knight. Whereas if he puts the obliterators down onto the table as well, then he's got a choice of 2 knights and the obliterators to focus on.
Nick, I won't lie to you. I'm very tense, waiting for these to go down. Going over onto table 3, we're still in the shooting phase for the Orks. But look at that. There's
a lot of shooting, and I don't think it's going to do much.
Oh, wait, shooting in phase of the Necrons. We haven't missed the Ork turn. I don't think so. So we'll go to our table boss, and we'll find out what phase we are in and whose turn we're on.
So we're still in the Ork turn 2, and it is still the shooting phase. What we're essentially doing is all the Orks have piled out the transports, and they're shooting every single pistol, slugger, and just wet fart at anyone that they can fire it at. So, I mean, it's Orks, that's what they do. Bomb squigs indeed. So, what we've had actually is had a rather funny anecdote with the custom mega cannon, which is a 60-point expensive version of a mech gun. It fired at the Doomsday Arc. So it's fired at the Doomsday Arc, it's done its damage, it did 2, 4, and 6 damage with its guns. Now, George continued his proud tradition of rolling lower than his opponent with his quantum shielding dice. So quantum shielding is, if you roll under the amount of damage you're taking, you get to ignore the damage. So he rolls a 1, a 3, and then something that's lower than a 6, respectively, to shrug off all of the damage from the custom mega cannon, which I thought was pretty cool. What do you think of the short Orc shooting phase, and how do you think it's going to end up in that game?
Great work, Tom. Yeah, no, that's a great little anecdote. You sometimes, well, Nick, as a Necron player, you're never a fan really of. I think you'd prefer an invulnerable save to everything else.
I'd prefer both. Like, there's a really nice combo you can get on the Catacomb Command Barge, which has quantum shielding. You can give him a 4+ invuln as well. So having a 4+ invuln and quantum shielding makes him incredibly resilient.
Yeah, I mean, crazy tanky, right? And unfortunately for the Orks, they have to go through this process that they got now. Like, I get the design methodology of the Orks. Everyone's got like a random pistol, a little slugger here. Those mech, like all of those war buggies have got like the odd random gun here and there. But you've got to fire them because you do pay points for them somewhere along the line.
He just wants to get a few little chip wounds here and there on those Necron warriors, just to make it a little bit easier to make sure they can finish the squad to a man. Because obviously with Necrons, if you leave one guy remaining, the rest will have a chance to reanimate. Although what the Orc player could do in this situation, what Neil could try is, if, let's say, this Necron survives and he finishes combat, he could surround it, because the Necron reanimation protocol means that you have to come back within squad coherency, but 1 inches away from enemies. So if you have one man remaining, but he's surrounded, there's no space for any Necrons to come back, and then just not going to be reanimating.
Listen, I can't wait to see the charge phase, because look at that. That is a mob of boys. There's a war boss there ready to kick it. It's going to be gross on that table. Once the charge phase comes, expect bloody murder. However, we're moving now over to table 1. Table 1, that big Astraeus battle tank. It is up on that building, so it's now going to be... It's already -3 to charge. You've got to run up the side of the building to get to it. Can you even get it? I think it's going to be a tough time, but we're going to hear now some information from our table boss, who's going to let us know what else is happening.
I don't think you can place anything to charge it there, Rob, but as your tower, I think you might be alright. I think the interesting thing about this game is essentially the target priority. As I said last time, the town were very eager to finish off that Leviathan Dreadnought, fired a lot of things at it, did 2 wounds. What a reliable and durable unit that is. Great balance. So, after that we then had the Iron Hands come back, and the Iron Hands target priority has been a little bit interesting. They can't necessarily get all the drones, but what they can do is shoot Riptides and then say, right, you can either take the big damage that I'm going to do to you with my Riptides, with my Astraeus and my Leviathan against your Riptides, or you can pass it off to drones, and I'll kill you that way. That's perfectly fine. So I've had the Leviathan had a shoot at one of the Riptides, that's taken it down to 7 wounds, which means it's now bracketed, so it's now hitting on 5s. We then have the Astraeus that's now rolling to fire at the Riptides as well. That is trying to take out some more of those things, take out some more drones in the process, because you don't have too many drones to hand it off to. Every single one you lose is a bit of a hit. The drones are piling up on the side, the wound counters are simmering down. I'll let you know when the Astraeus has finished shooting so we can count up the damage and see how much I have to hit back. What do you guys think of that target allocation?
Well, number one, I think he should have been more aggro the turn before, right? I reckon he had the opportunity with these Riptides to go here, take out the Astraeus. Well, not take it out, but go for it. He also had the unit for the Commanders. Commanders could have gone over into the Leviathan as well. I mean, he's put himself in a position where he's just going to be taking the damage anyway.
Yeah, but I think he's playing the long game. It looks like.
But then, what was the plan with the ghost kills, right? Because earlier on the top down, like you'll see that like there were 3 ghost kills that we got put out, which seemed like the perfect screen to put those commanders one jump away into either the Astraeus. But
maybe they just did the job turn 1. They protected those Coalstar commanders from dying in the Iron Hands retaliation, meaning they could come back into the fold by the Riptides, by the drones. And then turn 3, jump out and go and kill something else. Because in the first turn he used those to assassinate the Tech Marine and another character. So maybe that's just what he's planning for next time. He's going to go assassinate Ferios, assassinate the Ironstone Wielder. Or maybe he is just going to surprise us all again and just go for the Astraeus or the Leviathan.
Well, so Iron Hands have gone for Big Game Hunter, obviously. Look what's on the board. Yeah, they've gone for Mark for Death. And he's gone for Engineers. It's turn 2, so he'll start scoring those Engineers points now.
Yep.
But the real question is, what units did he mark for death? Because if he marked for death, are you allowed to mark for death and Big Game Hunter the same unit? I think you are.
No, so they can't stack.
They can't stack.
No. Okay.
In which case then, maybe he's pretending he's going for Big Game Hunter, or maybe it's like an inconsequential thing. I don't know what his goal is. Because he's definitely losing more, right? He's losing drones, he's losing units.
Yeah.
So he's losing points that way. So how's he taking this out? That's the real question. That's the real money question for everyone.
It's the $1 million question that we're all asking. Not sure who he's going to actually target, the Astraeus or the Leviathan. But like I speculated earlier, I reckon he's waiting to assassinate the buff characters before he tries that.
Really? So they're all located at the back here behind, and they're in this little bunker here.
Yeah.
That's what he's looking to hit. That's pretty big. But then wouldn't he have gone for? We need to find out what he's marked for death. Which units he's marked for death.
Yeah, we'll ask our table boss to find that out.
Yeah.
We'll bring that information to you guys soon.
Yeah.
I imagine that he's marked. Probably the Riptide or the.
That's a cool conversion, though, right?
Yeah, I like the Crozius Arcanum. This thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm rating that. That looks cool.
And then this looks like the skull from the Knight kit. You get like a face mask.
Yeah, we're just looking to find which units were marked for death by the Iron Hands army.
Okay,
3 ghost kills. So he's killed 2 of them.
So it looks like he's going to go for Big Game Hunter on the Riptides and Mark for Death on the 3 Ghost Keels. Probably one of the Cold Star commanders, because I'm pretty sure they're overpower level 7. Okay, so the 4th Mark for Death with this blue commander.
Okay. I was reading the secondaries for the wrong player the whole time. I'm so sorry, everyone at home. That's a mistake on my part. It's not gone my way in that situation. Right, jumping back over to table 3. Because this is the game I'm involved with.
Bottom table bash.
The bottom table bash. Here we are, the BTB. What's happening down here? The Necrons are trying really hard to survive this withering amount of fire, but we've had a big charge. Look at this. Or have we?
Yeah, it looks like the destroyers. Have been charged by another one of the Bone Breakers and a unit of 10 boys.
This unit of knobs has charged up there into the unit of
Tomb Blades. They are.
They have been
Necron bikers.
Yeah, they've been charged. The Necron, the bikes are just still running.
Their revenge again on that Annihilation barge.
They're just chasing it down. They're just running around the battlefield looking to take out that Annihilation barge. And there we see this unit shooting.
Now that's the danger unit to charge. Orks going into the Tesla. It looks like he's moving it in, but the Tesla are really dangerous for the Orks to charge. Because if the Necron player rolls a lot of 6s, that's going to be a lot of boys dying as well. So I think this is the key unit for Neil to take out, because if those destroyers go down, there's one left. He's got the Cryptek here, so that's giving +1 to the reanimation protocols of those destroyers. He could maybe use a stratagem where you can reroll 1s for your reanimation protocols. You could go from 1 back to a full unit of 6 if you get lucky.
Well, so let me tell you, there's also, this is quite important, there's a warlord, there's a war boss over here, and he has got the relic power claw just hidden around this corner.
Dracula claw.
And look at this Necron lord. I'm not saying that there should be a mano-a-mano fight or, green monster versus undead skeleton zombie. But
that's what we're all hoping for.
And I'm rooting for the Ork. Nick, as both an Ork and a Necron player, are you conflicted about this game? Twitch chat, let's know who you're rooting for.
All right, if you're rooting for the Orks, I've got to go for the Necrons.
I'm rooting for them. Bottom Table Bash is possibly my favourite new invention of the Tabletop Sports Network. Who doesn't want to hang out on the Bottom Table Bash?
It's the fun table, isn't it?
It's the fun table. I think we should make Table 3 our Bottom Table Bash table for the rest of the event.
Absolutely.
That'll be hilarious fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm rooting for Orks because I want that Power Claw War Boss to go and smash face. Going to the top down again. We're gonna find out.
Now, where do we think the death marks are going to be? So Neil, in true Ork fashion, has abandoned all tactics of blocking off this area, so he's left himself open for the death march to come in behind and shoot off his artillery at the back.
Exactly. When I read his list,
he's role playing, isn't he?
Yeah. When I read his list, he's playing how I expected him to play, and he's a legend, and I'm loving it. And I actually had a really good conversation with him before the game started. He said the key thing that he's looking for in a game of Warhammer is he wants interactivity. He wants two people to be interacting and having fun.
Nice, really good.
Oh, okay. So we've just heard that Neil's questioning himself. I suppose if no one's played old Warhammer Fantasy Battle, you might not know about animosity. But his Ork boys on bikes have decided to go after the battle barge. The Annihilation barge. They should have gone for the Immortals on the objective.
Yeah, that's true.
Doomsday Ark. Sorry, it's the Doomsday Ark at the top. However, they didn't because of a classic Ork thing where they'll pretty much do what they want.
Yeah.
They
were just annoyed that they didn't kill the Doomsday Ark the first time round. They're like, well, we can't look weak in front of the boys.
No, we didn't beat it up last time. If we don't beat it up this time, then they think we're not strong enough.
Exactly.
So you need to leave us alone. We were in a lot of Overwatch phase before, but now we're into a lot of combats. There'll be a ton of ongoing combats. Obviously, there's no real punchback of any of these units, Nick.
The Necron Immortals are actually okay. They're basically a marine stat line, but they don't get the new shock assault rules. There's only 1 strength 4 attack back. Nothing that special. But if you're fighting boys, only toughness 4, 6 up save.
Those are knobs.
Oh, are they the knobs? Oh,
those
okay.
Are the knobs.
I'd imagine to maybe take out 1 knob there, so not a lot. And you'd probably imagine those knobs are going to take out those Immortals.
So the boys are here. The knobs are up there in combat, and the other unit of knobs.
Okay. But it looks like there's a war boss here.
There is that war boss.
Scary
I'm hoping
fella.
he got in and do the work. Let's go back. Let's go back now to table 1. because some stuff's happened there. We've now moved on after the shooting phase from the Tau Iron Hands. We're now into the shooting phase or movement phase for Tau, which means the shooting phase is going to come. There are still 3 Riptides on the tabletop. Those 2 commanders. Let's go find out where those commanders are going to go. Where are they gonna go? That's the real question.
Yeah, so it looks like Marcin have lost quite a lot of drones. He does have some drones left, but he's still got a few clinging on in there, and he's pushing, being quite aggressive. I don't know whether he's lining up some sort of charge there, or not.
I'll find out what the plan is in a moment. We'll see what it looks like, but we're going to find out now what's happening on table 2. I think those Obliterators might come down, Nick, and I want to know what that game looks like. Let's go over to our table boss right now. He'll give us an update.
So actually, at the end of turn 2 movement phase, the Obliterators elected not to come down yet. And I think that might have had something to do with the 2 intercessors that are stood in the L in the center of the board, and therefore pushing the Eliminators out to the side, where they can get absolutely shot off the board by the Leviathans. If you can hold them, what that means is you can now kill those intercessors, and then that forces the Iron Hands to push something else up into the center of the board, which may be more appealing for you to charge, and also leave some more space in the backfield as well. So what's essentially happened is, these Knights and these Derrideas, by the looks of it, we're only halfway through the shooting phase. When I checked, we had 1 Knight that had fired, and then 1 Derridea that had fired. They were ignoring the Smash Captain in the center of the board. And I'm not so sure about this, because what that means is, he's probably leaving the Smash Captain for the assault phase. Now, if the Knight charges in, kicks the Smash Captain in the assault phase, that Smash Captain can then fight upon its death, and then do a serious amount of damage to that Knight. We had 8 command points left when I last checked for the side of the Iron Hands. So that could do a lot of damage in return if he was to try and remove it in the assault phase. And that looks like what he's going to do. He's still got another Knight to shoot and another Derridea to shoot. So it might be that he's just doing something else later. But I question the sequencing a little bit, but that's not a massive issue. We'll see how he tries to deal with it. What do you guys think he's going to do?
Well, I think number 1, he's going to be very happy to kill that Smash Captain. I think that's going to be his main focus.
But it will be a nasty surprise if he does fight on his death.
It will be a very nasty surprise if that's the situation. So yeah, all these shots coming in, I think that's the resolution. I mean, the worst situation is he's going to lose this Knight, right? By fighting in death. I still think though he's controlled a dominant portion of the board. He's got Pick Your Poison, Headhunter, and the Reaper. Nick, pick your poison.
So I think that's where you have like a range of keywords to pick. So you have to pick 1 each of like the keywords. So you can have a fly, a monster, a psyker, or etc. So there's like a list of those. You have to pick 1 of those, and as long as you kill 1 of those with a keyword, you get 1 point. He's also gone for Headhunter and Reaper as well, which is an interesting choice. I think Reaper, I mean, the Iron Hands player's got a lot of bodies, but to max out Reaper you need 80. I don't think the Iron Hands player had 80 models, but maybe Richard just decided that was sort of the lesser of 2 evils. Okay, so Tom's just let us know that the Knight player has said, Richard has sort of said that he feels that was a bit of a mistake he made. Because he can't actually max it out. I reckon he can get 2, maybe 3 points with that. But an interesting decision from Richard that Tom let us in on, that he held off the Obliterators. He's holding them in reserve.
I think that's the right choice.
I disagree. I think you could drop. I think you could plop the Obliterators here. Just pick off some things here, and then the main thing that's going to counter you is the Leviathan. And then because of this terrain here, you can't get shot back, and then you can move up and keep going around. But maybe he's just deciding he just wants to pick off some more stuff. Before bringing them in, when he's ready to do a finishing move.
Oh, I don't know. I think, maybe. I think he does the same thing right now without having to bring them in and giving himself a more opportune space in the future. We'll find out exactly what that's going to be in a minute, but we'll find out some. But there's currently something happened on the tabletop. We'll find out what it is right now from. Someone will let us know. Someone with a microphone.
Right, so I think we're into the combat phase. It looks like the Knight has just stomped all over the Smash Captain. He's made a load of saves. Okay, so 5.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so there's an unlucky roll from the Smash Captain. It is, I think, lucky he's failed lots of 3+ invulnerable saves.
Yeah, so he rolled 5 1s or 2s for his save, so didn't get any 3+ invuln. So he's going to go down. Is he going to fight back? Is he going to swing back this
looks
turn?
Looks like he has done. It looks like only one has got through on the knight, and the knight's maybe taken a couple of wounds, but that's it. So it looks like he did fight on death, but he's done a chunk on the knight in revenge.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive. Look at him. Is he going to fight back? That's the question. We'll find out in a moment. But I think we've got some information from... Oh, okay, so upon fighting on death, he only did 3 wounds tonight. I think we're getting some information from Table 3, our bottom table bash, yeah? Our Billy Brawl. We're going to find out now from our table boss what's been happening in the Orks versus Necrons.
So we're still on the Orc turn, and the Orc shooting phase is over, meaning we are into the fight phase right now. Now what's happened immediately is the Orc Warboss with the Killer Claw, which is a special relic power claw with this flat 3 damage, laid into the destroyers and killed all of them. All of the destroyers are gone. We're now fighting into the Tomb Blades as well. Those Tomb Blades are getting pushed up to the side, which is going to really shut down the amount of mobility that this Necron list has. I believe you still have Veil of Darkness, but that doesn't really help too much when you don't have too much to cast it on. The Immortals are still in the middle, holding the line. You've still got all your characters in there as well. But what's really going to matter is how much damage these rapid-fire death marks can do on the drop. If they can do a lot of damage on the drop to things like the Knobs, things like the War Bosses, then maybe we could be seeing a bit of a pushback from the Necrons. But as it currently stands, the Orcs are definitely in the ascendancy. Let's see how it pans out, guys. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I just would like to come back to the comms desk for a moment and just let you know, Nick, the Orcs are winning, baby. Yeah, just feel that power. Yeah, and we're doing smashing and we're doing shooting, and the Orcs are okay.
I'm not your friend anymore, Bob.
Yeah, let's go back to table 3. I think the Orcs are in a super strong position. Come on, they're taking out units here. They're not going to take out this vehicle at the back.
Rob, you've forgotten the ace up George's sleeve. He's still got 30 death marks that are going to come in, and they're going to do all of the work. They're going to annihilate all of the Orcs.
Not as an ace, but as an atrocious choice that should never make its way into an army.
That was purely if we're facing Marines.
Your exact words.
Purely if we're facing Marines.
No.
Bolters are good against Orcs, and they're basically bolter sniper rifles.
You said you were going to phone George after this event and give him advice on Necron lists in the future. That's what you told me.
No, you misheard me. I said I was going to phone George and ask him for advice on Necron list writing. I was so impressed with the death mark inclusion in his list.
Oh, well, it looks like they are marked for death along with the rest of this Necron force. I won't lie to you. Let's jump over to table 1 because I want to see what the movement was.
I want to see where those cold stars went.
Oh, where did they go? So we had one cold star. It's gone up here. There are the other 2. One of them now. What the heck? It's gone over here.
So it looks like
just get him in, man. Get him in.
So Terrence went for engineers. Maybe those 2 cold stars on the left have gone to again. He's waiting another turn to bring the trap to go and kill those engineer units. He's got, I think, one or I'm not sure how many engineer points he's got at the minute. 1 or 2. It looks like 1 because we're in turn 2 now. So maybe he's just planning to get around the left flank and kill the engineer units with those 2 cold star commanders. But it does look like this commander has gone in on an assassination run. Either trying to kill that librarian. I'm not sure why he'd go for him when he could go for like a captain or the lieutenant who's probably wielding the Ironstone. But I imagine this is an assassination attempt.
Yeah, well, look, at the end of the day, I wouldn't play like this, but then I'm more of the Orc style player. I'd be way more aggro. I'd have gone for those. Look, I mean, he had the capacity to just put just such a volume of shots. Like, that's three of those cold star suits that could be in there. Right, so, but, like, why wouldn't you just put everything into the Astraeus, right? Like, all of it is going to just take it out.
Well, the problem with that is if the Ironstone is on the Astraeus, all the...
It is the Ironstone is on the stress.
The Ironstone is on the stress. So that's -1 damage on there. And all of these guns here are either 1 or flat 2 damage. So that's reducing their effectiveness by half. So that's probably why he's holding out. So maybe if the assassination attempt here goes well, it kills the Ironstone, maybe the next turn he will do that. But it may be too late because he's exposed all of the Riptides here. So if the Leviathan here is still alive in the stress, these could go down. Although the Riptides, they do have the ability to have a 3+ invulnerable save. So that can make them incredibly resilient to incoming fire.
Yeah, but if he'd have committed the turn before, he would have had the drones available that he doesn't have now, right?
Yeah, like, maybe he's waited too long.
Maybe he is. But one of them right at the back. Look, he's going for the character. He's going for the snipe. Is that Ferios he's after? That's not Ferios, right?
No, I think that's looks like a lieutenant and a librarian. Although this Leviathan looks pretty low. If that's 3, not sure if that's 3 wounds taken or 3 wounds. It's some players count up, some players count down.
Yeah, we'll find that out now in a moment. Squawky in the chat, thanks for being here.
Okay, so it's 3 wounds taken.
Says the librarian probably has the +1 save psychic power, which works on this stress void shields.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's very interesting. So he's looking to take that character out at the back of the board there. So that's, you did say earlier at the top of the game that you thought that was his strategy, right? His strategy was to go take out those top of the boards, those characters at the back, and he was going to hold on. But I still think he should have committed earlier.
Yeah, I think he had a really good turn 1. He took out the Biker Smash Captain, took out the Thunderfire Cannon. He got his ghost skills right in the Iron Hand's face. I really think that was the time to keep pushing, but he kind of withdrew in his second turn. He's playing a bit cautious, a bit edgy, a bit defensive. But we'll see if that strategy works out for him in the end of the game, or whether he's going to regret not pushing hard again second turn.
So, listen, it's super tense. Let's go to table 2 right now, where our table boss is helping with some measurements. Helping with line of sight.
Okay, we just... Table boss / rules judge here.
Yeah, just helping out there. Pointing out just some measurements to... something's been dragged now, so it's all gone a bit wrong. Yeah, we go. So, yeah, but the game that you're just looking at now, that's Chaos, Richard Wybury with his Iron Warriors. And he's also got Chaos Knights attachment as well, obviously. 3 despoilers. You can see the list in the chat. He's up against Iron Hands. It's very close. A Smash Captain has gone down, dead in the centre. We've, of course, lost one of those 3 knights as well. We're still waiting on a unit of Obliterators to come down. It looks like Nick, the Leviathan Dreadnought, has decided he's going to... He's decided to move forward and start to engage with those Dorados. Yeah. But does that mean the Obliterators are going to come in?
I think this
obliterate.
I feel like this is I think this is going Chaos's way.
I think so.
Because the Iron Hands player Mike, he's only got his Leviathan left really, which is main damage dealer. Oh no, sorry, he's got this Mortis Dreadnought, quad las cannons, which could do the work on these knights. One of the knights has a relic which gives him a 4+ invulnerable save. I'd imagine it's the one right in the open. He's probably keeping this one hidden because it's not got the 4+ invuln. So if that quad las cannon has a good round and is able to get a big load of damage on the other knight, and the Leviathan manages to take out either a Deradio, I don't think this Leviathan can see this knight, because Richard is hiding it very, very smartly there.
Yeah, it's very, very close. But I think we're in the shooting phase, obviously, for Iron Hands. That's where we're at right now. And I personally think the Iron Hands are they're gonna do some work, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Truth be told, this knight over here is...
it looks like Deradio's gone down to the Stormfire cannons.
Yeah, I saw that happening. I think that's fine. I just don't think that's enough, right? Like, what do you think? Do you think that's enough?
Well, it depends. I'm not sure if the Leviathan has some infantry near it for next turn to do Cogitate of Martyrdom on it, because this knight will, I'm pretty confident, spring forth from its line of sight blocking terrain to go and try and gun down the Leviathan.
Right. So let's go. Listen, the Orc versus Necron bottom table bash I'm all about it. The BTB. Let's find out from our table boss what's been happening in that game up until now.
So we just got to the end of the Orc assault phase. So that's the top of turn 2 has just ended, and that was a big bloody turn for both sides, I think, on that side. The Orcs have all charged into Pritchard Lynch as many Necrons as they can get. The Doomsday Ark is now down to 2 wounds. 10 Immortals have gone down. As we mentioned earlier, all the Destroyers are dead. There is 1 Tomb Blade left as well. Difference is, still got 30 death marks to come in, and also all of the Necron characters, bar the Destroyer Lord, which got ran over turn 1, are still alive. And what's more, that Cryptic still has its Veil of Darkness, meaning it can pick up that unit of 5 Immortals that's currently locked in combat, plop them outside of combat, and they can add to the fuselage that's going to be coming into that Orc line in a second. I have a feeling like all the death marks are about to drop down, so you're going to see 30 death marks, 1 Doomsday Ark, 1 very damaged Doomsday Ark, and probably 5 Immortals firing back at these Orcs, and it's all going to be about how much damage can these Necrons do. Hopefully it's more than they did in turn 3 against the Iron Hands earlier. I would imagine it would be. What do you guys think is going to happen in that game?
Well, yes. So, what do you think, Nick? Like, I mean, I think the Necrons are in a very tough spot at this stage. I'm very happy with the destruction of all of these destroyers at the bottom.
They really are, but what? So the Vicar Knobs again failing to kill that Doomsday Ark. But I think what a play the George could make is he could make use of his sneaky Necron mobility that he has, which he has the Veil of Darkness, which Tom just mentioned, and then he's got. So what he could do is pick up this unit of Immortals here, jump to the back of the board, far away from the Orc combat, and then he could drop the death marks at the back here as well, and basically reverse his position, because he's baited the Orcs into the right hand side of the board, and then he's just going to make a switcheroo and go to the left, and then the Orcs are going to run back all the way over here again. So he's retreated this Doomsday Ark over here,
and he's on it. Yeah. So Necrons, Nick, if you were in this position, what would you be doing? I mean, you've got the 30 death marks, you've got the ace in your hole, but when you pull it out, it's just a joker. Right, let's go to table 1. We've heard some interesting stuff that's just happened to table 1. We'll find out from our table boss right now what has happened.
Had another pretty ineffective town shooting phase. We've now got 3 commanders on the board. They're looking to do as much damage as possible. 2 of those gone into the Chaplain Dreadnought. A couple of strats have been popped to shrug the wounds off onto the squads of Intercessors right next to it. So that's relatively fine. The Leviathan Dreadnought is also perfectly fine. So we've had to have a different solution. Nikos was earlier talking about how he likes to deal with Leviathans, and the way he likes to go about it is by charging it, locking it down, and preventing it from shooting the next turn. Well, that's exactly what the Tower have done here. As you can see, that Riptide is being pushed up the board, and it's going in base to base with that Leviathan. So once again, for the second game in a row, we have Tau battlesuits charging across the board to try and get some units locked down, to try and get further up the board. Specifically, this one's for a lockdown to stop that Leviathan from doing a lot of damage. That Riptide only has 4 wounds remaining. The drones are pretty much in short supply. We're now into single-digit drones, I believe. So we're going to be running out pretty soon. He's looking to try and minimize the amount of damage coming back at him, box the Iron Hands in a corner for as long as possible, so he can try and keep a Slender Point Sleeve alive. This is going to be close, I think. What do you guys think is going to go on in this game?
Well, big play there. What do you think, Nick?
Okay, yeah, I think it's a really smart move to just tag that Leviathan in combat. He's pretty secure. I mean, it's a frightening prospect charging the Leviathan, because he's got so many shots. Iron Hands overwatching on 5s, potentially 4s with a stratagem. But a Riptide has got a 3+ invulnerable save, so it's relatively safe from that overwatch, and he's survived. He's got in. That Leviathan, most Dreadnoughts can be quite good at fighting in combat, but the Leviathan, every time it takes a heavy weapon, loses an attack, so it only has 2 attacks base, which aren't particularly strong. Yeah, I think that's a pretty big move from the Tau player, and pretty aggressive. I like it.
Yeah, no, I think it's very aggressive, and I think very, very clever. I hadn't seen it. We talked about it, Nick. We talked about maybe he was going back there, but looking to pin stuff down. That's good. That's good. It really does reduce what they're able to do, and he doesn't have any punch to get it out of that combat.
Yeah. So one way round Iron Hands players can get around this. You can make this Leviathan a character and give it a Warlord trait. I believe it's called Student of History or Master of History or something like that. And that basically gives you the ability to consolidate 6 inches, and you don't have to go towards the closest enemy model. So what Terrence could have done is just activate this guy and move 6 inches away, and then still shoot again.
Yeah, so we're going to go now to the top down for table 2, and we're going to look at what's been happening.
One night left,
and we're going to be there's 1 night left. We're going to be getting an update. We're going to be getting an update from our table boss now, and then we'll find out what information is happening on table 2.
So on table 2, we've had another bloody turn for the Iron Hands. We've had the Leviathan move out to the side, and it's taking a great shot at the Derrideo, poking its way outside of the Nova L, and completely one-shot the Derrideo stood on the side there as well. So that's 1 Derrideo straight away down. The Knight on the other side that took 15 wounds earlier from the Mortis has also been killed, which means that half of the remaining forces stood on the board at the start of that turn are gone. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Yeah, sorry. It was just a communication difficult there. It's all right. It's good. So, still got 1 Chaos Knight left on the board. We've got 1 Derrideo that's left on the board as well, and we've still got the Obliterators coming down. What I was thinking there is, as the Leviathan comes out to kill that Derrideo, it's now left itself very much on the side and by itself. I don't believe it is within 6 inches of any of those Iron Hands, but I'll need to double check that. So the Obliterators can now come down and completely remove that Leviathan if they have the damage to do so. Remember, they're still quite a random unit, although you are going to be shooting twice. If you do it the first time, that means you're going to have the freedom to shoot at something else afterwards. If you do it the second time, it's still a good achievement, removing that Leviathan off the board, which means that then you can really think about how much you can push those knights in. However, it doesn't look like that's what's happening. Good job, I'm stood far enough away. It looks like they're going after the Mortis Dreadnought instead on the other side. We'll have to see how that pans out. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, but I guess we'll see. Let's see what's happening in the rest of the games.
Seen the Obliterators drop in by that rock formation there.
Give me that top down. Where are they? Where are they on the tabletop? Where? There's a giant piece of paper, but that's not what I need. Where's my Obliterators?
They're over here, Rob. But they've got the Chaos Lord behind them as well to give them reroll 1 buff.
I'm so hype. What are they going to do? What do they even do? They're going to fight twice? They can shoot twice?
So they're Marcus Lanesh, and they can shoot twice. Because he's Iron Hands, I believe he can, unless they, if I think they are infantry, you can give them Veterans of the Long War to give them +1 to wound, shooting twice. And it looks like he's going to try and kill the rest of these Intercessors, Eliminators, and maybe pick up that Mortis Dreadnought with the las cannons, which is still a massive threat to those knights. Yeah,
I want that gone. That's going to be rad. But I am so excited for them. Can I get closer for those models? They look so sweet as.
So Richard again, he's dancing around these terrain to avoid the Leviathan here. What he wants to do, he's got this line of sight blocking terrain. He wants like a straight line there, so that maximises the reduces the ability of the Leviathan to move across, strafe to the right or left and shoot him. So if he goes this way, he definitely won't be able to get a shot here. Can't get around there. Maybe if he goes straight forward that way, he might be able to sneak something on the knight there, but that potentially is over 24 inches range. So look, so Richard is just measuring now to see how far the Leviathan can get, to see if he can definitely get out of line of sight. I presume he's going to move his Derrideo back just to over 24 from that distance, which is really, really smart.
Yeah, really, really clever.
So obviously 40k you can pre-measure, so this is something that lots of top players will do. Pre-measure everything out, what your opponent can do. The threat ranges of like the Leviathan or other units like that, just to make sure and sort of state your intent to your opponent.
I think that's the key part, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen a lot of people with large objective markers. We've seen people with sticks. The ability to understand the board space and control the ranges and know what threat ranges are. I mean, 40k's obviously got deep and like long threat ranges, and the movement's also bonkers in some places. But when you get down to some of these very potent units, like, you know, especially that do that high, heavy damage, like we've been talking about with the Cold Stars, you know, in the Tau game, they move 40 inches, they shoot only 18. So you've got to get up in the grill. So understanding where the threat ranges are and what's happening, very, very important. And those Obliterators, oh no, look what they are targeting.
For the Leviathan.
They're going for the Leviathan.
Okay.
That's a beautiful army. Honestly, very, very pretty.
The hazard stripes, very, very striking. Very, very, very good at drawing.
But the real question is are the Obliterators hazardous? That's the real question.
Absolutely, they are. They have
right. So let's find out about that big play. Table 1. We'll go to that. We'll get to that Table 1 game, and we'll find out what happened there. We got our table boss coming in now with all of the information.
So Terrence has been having quite a bit of a think about how he's going to deal with this problem, because now the tower in his lines, he's got a little bit of thinking to do. So just for context, the Riptide closest to the Iron Hands right now is currently on 1 wound. The next Riptide is on 6 wounds, and that's the one in the inside the L, and the one in between the L's is on 12 wounds. So the way he's gone about dealing with this is he wants to smite off the first Riptide on 1 wound. So you apply that, you're guaranteed to get at least 1 wound, and you can't pass it off to the drone as a mortal wound in the psychic phase that is caused by something from a non-ranged weapon. So you can smite that off, that's gone. Now we've got the chance to be able to shoot that commander, as it will be the closest unit to everybody. You then have the rest of the army, because the Leviathan is now no longer in combat, it didn't fall out, it has the freedom to shoot whatever it wants. So it effectively nullifies the play of shunting that Riptide forward to try and block it off and stop it from shooting this turn. That's essentially what's happened. It's quite a decent counterplay going on there. Unfortunately for David, if he hadn't taken those 3 wounds on it, the smite may not have got him, but apparently it's enough, and now we're going to get all the shooting back from the Iron Hands into the tower. Looks like it might start swinging that way if that shooting phase is good enough. What do you think?
Yeah, Nick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a really good counterplay there. Like Tom said, he smited off the Riptide that was here, that heroically charged, doing something that Tau players very often, rarely do. But he, unluckily, he took obviously some Overwatch on the Leviathan as he went in and remained on 1 wound, but that was enough for this Psyker here to move in and smite him off, freeing the Leviathan from combat. And allowing it to shoot, which is a pretty big swing back to the Iron Hands player.
Yeah,
I thought after that turn the Tau player had it.
Yeah, I think so. If we go back to that top down, the Tau, like looking at what Iron Hands have got now, is they've got some pretty solid free reign to deal with these 2 major threats that have been posing the threat for a long time, and also can't forget that there's another Cold Star Battlesuit at the back they're going to have to deal with. But they've got a lot of output to do so, and then there's those two. But really, Martin hasn't got much else left. Once these 2 Riptides go down, what else is even there? Looking at the score, 10-9, it's still very close. Martin still to score his points. There's all to play for, but I think it's very close. Now. We're going to bring you some slow and languorous looks at the beautiful game that's happening on the Bottle Table Bash. As you can see, the Orks are involved. There's a lot of combat. Our table boss is going to walk you through now what is happening on Table 3.
Essentially in Table 3, what we've had is the Necrons have really had their go turn this time. What's actually going to come down is all the death marks that have come around, and it kind of looks to a point where you end up with a diorama Warhammer style where units are just everywhere and there's fights going on all sides rather than just kind of like one brick wall uniform thing. It's a complete mess. One of the squads of death marks came down and only applied 2 wounds to this war boss in the ruin. They didn't do too much at all. 2 knobs has gone down from the squad of knobs that came out of the dead battle wagon Bonebreaker, and then the other squad of death marks, along with the Doomsday Arcs, have managed to remove one of the buggies. I don't know its name, I'll probably never know its name, and its name will leave my head 5 seconds after I've been told it. So I'll say, it's a buggy, it's fine. We've still got the Annihilation Barge to fire. 1 Annihilation Barge is just having its shots now. We'll see how much we get rid of. I'm not sure the punch is big enough, but I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll have some Necrons charging. Who knows? It could be fun. We've had Tau charging every time they've played this time. That's pretty much the state of play, but I'll leave you with some excellent cinematic shots going on there, and we'll go back to the desk.
Yes, that is a beautiful scene. And I think Tom called it out like it was. It feels like a diorama right now.
It is. It's a very cinematic battle.
Yeah, there's loads of game happening. The terrain here is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
At this event. Yeah.
Functional as well. These ruins look fantastic, but there's lots of room underneath to put your models, and also lots of flat surfaces to put your models as well. Sometimes there's ruins that are just in too much ruin to even put models on.
Yeah, it just looks really nice.
So we've seen. Come up to us, hello.
I meant let's look at Wallace's camera. That's what I meant. Let's keep looking at that. It looks really nice.
So we've got the death marks have come in, sort of surrounded the Orks.
Yeah, it just looks really lovely. I'm just having a nice time, just having a look. I know, obviously, everyone. Look at that. There we go.
There's a Death Killer Water right there.
And then just they're just everywhere. They're just swamping the board. These horrible orcs are just being so mean. All right, well, that's enough. Let's talk about the game. Let's stop looking. Okay, so we're gonna go now live to table 1. Our table boss is gonna run us through what happened. Well, what's happening right now?
So earlier we were talking quite a bit about how brutal the shooting phase could be for my Iron Hands after I removed the first Riptide with the Smite, and it has indeed been brutal. We started the turn with 3 Riptides, we're going to finish the turn with none. All of the Riptides have been removed, 20 wounds total go in front of them, which means you now have too many shield drones. Lots of shield drones, no Riptides remaining. You are in single digits with the shield drones. You've still got 2 captains left, but now you have no ability to pressure the Iron Hands. It's now a case of how quickly can the Iron Hands push up and how many points can they score. But as they're in the lead, it looks like the Iron Hands might be taking that game. What do you guys think? How pull this back, or do you think this one's over?
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, it looks over to me. No Riptides. He's got good damage with these Cold Star Commanders, but just on their own, they're just not
all game.
I think they started here. They started here. They went here. Then they went here. Then they went here. Then they went here. It seems a bit of a waste. I don't think he shot. I think he shot them once.
Yeah.
This game, it seems a real waste.
And as we talked turn 1, I mean, I know it's a big play. I think realistically he could have just engaged very early and taken out those major threats. But maybe that's how Terrence's Iron Hands list works. Maybe he's just put, with the combination of the Ironstone, combination of the psychic powers for possible save, combination of all of the stratagems available, he effectively has just put too many wounds with too good a save on the tabletop, and it's direct counterplay to some of that tower shooting. It's just potently defensive, but problematically also potently offensive.
It is, yeah. Like you say, he's got two main units, and he can sort of protect which one is most at threat at the time with the Ironstone and other buffs, and fix up any damage that he does take with Farius. So, because sometimes you can take a lot of units and you can only buff a few of them. So what he's done is he's concentrated all of his power into 2 big units that are really difficult to kill. This is basically a knight, but maybe a bit more resilient, and this is almost more resilient than a knight.
And they're definitely more resilient because they're inside the Iron Hands, Legion, not called Legions anymore.
Chapter.
They're called chapters.
That's old money.
Legions are cooler anyway. Legions are cooler.
Legions are cooler.
Legions are way cooler. So yeah, it looks like that's going to be but the score still is 12-9. Yeah.
But I think Terrence has the bottom of turn, so
he does.
He knows how many units Marcin had killed, and he knows how many objective Marcin is on, so he can sort of try and kill more and try and hold more. And also he's got his bigger stress and his Leviathan still. And Marcin only really has a handful of drones and a couple of Cold Star Commanders.
So while we're going, let's go over to table 2 because we've been hyping up the Obliterators for a while, and we're looking forward to them shooting. They are located here, and they're gonna. Okay. However, at deployment, it turns out Richard has accidentally left one of them out of range of anything to shoot. Uh-oh. Billio. Good night, Jim. 1080. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so 2 of them are firing at the. Oh no! So they've already, as we said in the first shooting phase, they have cleared that unit of intercessors that we saw. Great work, John. And then the Dreadnought. Sorry, now is being shot at, but it's popped its stratagem to make it a little bit more survivable.
So halving all damage coming in, and obviously you got the 6+ Iron Hands DPR. It's only got 8 wounds, and depending on if this is the first or second time Richard has shot his Obliterators. It was the first time, so he's still got a second time, so he's probably going to have a second salvo at that Dreadnought. I would probably say that Dreadnought is not long for this world, and then next turn, when it's Mike's turn, he's only really going to have a handful of infantry at the back here, some characters here, and this Leviathan, which... If Richard has positioned his Deradio and Knight correctly, the Leviathan will only be able to move there at best, and that's probably 24.1 inches there.
I think it's very likely that the Dorado goes down, but we'll see. Oh no, we've just seen 2 characters removed. Is that right?
Oh, I think they were eliminators.
Oh, those are eliminators.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna We're just gonna get an update from our table boss right now.
Quick update on the eliminators and why they were being shot at all. Essentially, what had happened is when the Obliterators had dropped down, one of them was closer to the Eliminators than it was closer to the Dread. So what they're doing is they're firing one into the Eliminators, killing the Eliminators, one into the Dread, and then they're going to use Endless Cacophony to fire both remaining Obliterators that are in range into the Dread when they get the chance to do so.
There's the specifics of the ordering there in that shooting phase. So it looks like most of that area is going to be cleared, and just like you said, losing the Dreadnought is going to give him very few options left.
Yeah, because the Knight here can just outrange the Leviathan at this point, because the Leviathan's weakness is that it's only got 24-inch range on its guns, and I think this Mortis Dreadnought with the quad las cannon is the biggest threat to the Knight at this stage.
Those are some funny-looking Iron Hands, I won't lie to you. They are colours I've never seen an Iron Hands army be.
Custom chapter, man.
They do look cool. Yeah, a custom paint scheme. I'm digging it. I also like those
bases look fancy
bases.
though. Oh yeah.
Yeah, fancy AF. They look lovely. Okay, so it's a really pretty game actually. I really like Richard's army. Big fan of it, especially those Obliterators and the Dorados. They look rad. The big question is are the Orks winning or are the Necrons winning? Table 3, bottom table bash. Who's winning? Orks or Necrons?
Looking at that, it is incredibly difficult to tell who is winning.
It is not difficult to tell.
And it's hard to tell where any army started.
Stop lying. It is so easy to tell who's winning. It's obviously the Orks.
What about the cavalry's arrived?
The cavalry? What, the death marks?
Yeah.
They're not cavalry. They are more lambs to the fodder. This is the second time now we're going to see these death marks land and murder stuff. At this point... we're going to have to invite George onto the bottom table match again, just to see if these death marks can ever do...
Can they kill anything?
I would like to put him on from game 1 to game 5 and him walk away with the wooden spoon.
No, I've got faith in George. I reckon he's going to win this game, and he's probably going to go 4-1 from this
Neil,
point.
if you're listening, George, if you're listening, you seem like a bloke that I really like. But Neil has won my heart over with this army, and I think he's won us all of our hearts over by just stomping. You're about to get wrecked. You're about to get wrecked, Nick. All of your Orc boys are going down. But
no way.
Listen, let's go to an impartial judge on this, and let's go and see what Tom's got to say right now about the game.
All right, I guess in the tiebreaker then. So looking at that game, it's currently 8-6 to the Orcs, which means that they have pressure, which means that George now needs to push on and get more points. It's not really a massive difference, but it means that George needs to be able to do more damage effectively than the Necrons, than the Orcs can. So the problem I have is this. At the top of the turn, the Orcs are now about to charge everything, which means that the Necrons aren't going to be able to put out a huge amount of damage. You've got the Warboss bike thing, HQ special bike, that's about to go and charge the death marks on the top side. You've got a truck that's around there. That could even tag things up, but it's having a nice cozy time on that objective. You could even move the Met gun up after that to cover for it. You've got the center of that board pretty much wrapped up. What you've got is a circle of Orcs, and they're surrounded by Necrons, and all of those Necrons are about to go either get tagged or killed. And I don't really see a way, personally, where the Necrons are ever going to be able to hold more objectives than the Orcs are at this point, just because I don't think they're actually going to win this war of attrition. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Back to you guys.
Right.
No, I'd agree, Tom. I think the death marks coming in, they've clearly not done enough damage to the Orcs, and like Tom said, the Orcs are just going to charge in again, as Orcs do, tag them and stop them shooting, unless the death marks can find some way of punching back and fighting themselves out of combat.
I love that image. Look at those death roll. He's like, you're going to die. I'm going to crunch you. That looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks awesome, man.
Sorry, you were saying. Okay. Well,
no, so this is exactly what I was saying. The Necron player George is not killed enough. This death roll is just going to come straight in. Even if it doesn't kill a unit, it's stopping those death marks shooting.
Yeah, 100%. Right, going now to table 2. We've got some hot gossip. and we got that live from our table boss.
So, the Obliterators have now finished shooting. They use the Endless Cacophony to double fire, and that has been enough to remove the Mortis Dreadnought even through the half-damage stratagem. Those things are nasty, which means that the amount of firepower coming back into these knights has very much decreased, and that is very, very important for knights. Can you get rid of the things that hurt you faster than you die? If yes, knights, great. Run into your army, shoot things, kick things, blow up in your face. It's alright. So, what you've got left of the Iron Hands is you have a Thunderfire Cannon nestled in one corner, and then another Thunderfire Cannon next to it, and you have one Leviathan Dread. I think that Leviathan Dread is the last hope for these Iron Hands. If that can remove the Dread, or the Knights, or at least keep it at bay, then it's going to cause some real problems to the Knights. However, the Knights are sat out of range, but that does mean, although the Knights are going to live, they are going to be unable to really pressure the deployment zone of the Iron Hands at this point, which means you can just pivot the Leviathan, take off the Obliterators, wait for the Knight to come in, take that off when it comes in too. So you're going to sit outside of 30 inches range, and you're just going to sit there and just say, right, if you want points, come and get them. You're going to have to run through my Leviathan to do so. I don't know if it's going to be a massive difference to the points. It is very, very close. It's 15-14 at the minute, 15 to the Chaos. So as it stands, the Chaos don't even need to come and get you. So we look like the onus is going to be on the Iron Hands to try and find something and get a couple of points back. Although the secondaries could play a part here. What do you guys think? Back to you guys.
So the real question is, and I mean this in all honesty, do Iron Hands players even know how to move models? That's the truth.
Well, we've seen evidence of that, Rob. This Leviathan started there, it moved there, and then it's moved back. And he also moved the Smash Captain here, and then there.
Okay, so yeah, he knows how to move stuff, and as a long-time Iron Hands player, I know that you'll feel very defensive about that, but
Absolutely.
Listen.
Now, I know someone who does know how to move models. I think Richard's movement in this game has been really, really good. He's been dancing around these line of sight blocking terrain in the middle to avoid this Leviathan, and he's kept out of its sights for most of the game. With this knight in particular anyway, he had to sacrifice a couple of knights to go forward and kill the intercessors and all the Marines that were here. And this is the bunker that Mike has left. He's got... it looks like a couple of units of Eliminators. He's got Ironfather, he's got a Librarian there. It's probably a Leviathan at Lieutenant, and I think he's got 2 Thunderfire Cannons hidden behind here. So this is a little firebase he's got left. He's kind of consolidated into a little castle for the rest of the game. This game is really, really on a knife edge. It's 1 point in it at the minute. We're halfway through the game. There is 40 minutes left. There's not much left on either side. I reckon this game will get to a conclusion.
I think it will. I think all of our games have 39 minutes left. So, talking about conclusions, I think we're going to hear some information from our table boss about Table 1.
But we have had some aggro play from a tower, which has very much pleased me. I think it might be a little bit too little, too late though. The 2 remaining Cold Star Battlesuits have gone flying in behind the Atreus. They have not gone for its exhaust pipe. Instead, they've gone for Librarians, and the Librarians are now dead, which means that you're probably going to end up losing both those commanders, but at least it's points on the board for David to try and get some points on the leaderboard for the later games. Even if he goes 4-1, it's still good enough for a podium. Potentially maybe you can even win it. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't run the maths. But those are just some extra points that David's managed to pick up by starting to play a little bit more aggressive. And I think that's going to be off the road for David. Although the commanders are coming off. One's already died. I think the other one's not too long for this world either. And then it's just the drones left, and that'll be the end of that game. Back to you guys.
Well, I mean, look at that. That tank is a monster in the centre there.
Yeah, it's got some big board presence.
Big board presence. And also, we talked about the last battle round, so last game round, we did talk about those Nova Elves and how important they're going to be to strategizing. And we've seen a lot of play. The games have seemed oddly similar, but we keep getting updates on this Cadre Fireblade. He seems...
What is he up to?
Our cameraman seems obsessed with this one. Let's go back to him. Cadre Fireblade. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's all that's basically left.
International Fireblade of Mystery.
Yeah, he is just... Some people say that he is a Fireblade that knows no friends and has taken no lovers in his intense desire to shoot his pulse rifle better. But I'm not sure.
My theory is he's just done a really smelly fart, Rob. And everyone's cleared the area.
Right, but like we were saying, look at that. Look at the dominant presence of the of the Astraeus there in the middle.
It's enormous.
It's huge.
It looks like, so Terence, I think he feels like the game is swung in his favour now, so he's pushing out from his position. All game he's sort of been bunkered up in this little corner, but now he's got rid of all the Riptides. There's only 2 Cold Star commanders left. He can push forward with this Astraeus. He's now on the central objective as well, so he's going to be getting hold more, and he may even decide to push forward. I'm not exactly sure where.
Can I just tell you? Can I tell you a quick update?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you see here, this Fireblade, our Fireblade Man of Mystery, can't be targeted because inside one of these buildings
is a drone.
It's a teeny tiny drone. There he is. There he is. Look at that. He's just
protecting,
like He's protecting. He's doing his job. Yeah, that's what he's done. He's kind of like
shield drone.
He's kind of like a Roomba. Only a Roomba of fate. You know, some say Guardian Angel, but that's obviously a whole different type. You know, that's the Imperium. These are the Roombas of hope, I'd say. Nice. Anyway, we've got some information from Table 3. The Orks versus Necrons. My boys are going to win. Let's find out from our table boss.
Come on, George.
So we were talking about how the Orks were going to try and push out against these Necrons. Well, I've had a look and I've worked out what exactly is going to escape being charged. The answer is, the Annihilation Barge on the top of that ruin is not going to get charged. There's no one brave enough to go up there. And also, the Doomsday Ark that is hiding in the corner behind the line of Immortals and Death Marks is also not going to get charged. Instead, the Death Marks are going to get rolled over by a big, spiky tractor. So, that's pretty much what's not going to get charged. Those are the things that are going to be able to shoot later on. But as for everything else, they're all either going to get killed, cropped, or locked up. That is pretty much all she wrote, I think. I don't think the Necrons have enough to really push back on these Orks. I think that game is just going to be pretty much over from there. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's any way of the Necrons coming back from this, or no?
Absolutely. Of course there's a way for the Necrons to come back.
No, zero way. Couldn't be wronger. Yeah, there is zero way. Look at the board presence the Orks have got. We're all over the place. We control this part of the board, this part of the board, all of this part of the board. Yeah, everything. In fact, I can't do it. I'm not Scrivos, but I'll try. I got a little wah. This more like a cat, but I'm gonna try like this. Like rah, wah. Like there's so much of the board we control. That's probably the best drawing I've ever done, which is why Scrivo does the art. Look at it, like the Death Roller's charged in. He's doing D3 mortal wounds on the charge. Is that...
The boss has gone in as
well. Is that a Pain Boy that's gone in?
I think that's the War Boss with the Dakilla Claw. Yeah, the Mega Boss.
It's the War Boss with the Killer Claw has gone into that
fine.
unit.
There's Death Marks. You can duff him
those
up.
Death Marks job? Look at that. Look at that. The
Mega Track Scrapjet.
Wazbomb has just gone in there. It's Scrapjet. Yeah. Listen, I do not know. Like I do. I do know. It's just there was.
Speaking of this model, I saw on Twitter recently there was someone did an amazing conversion with this model where they basically turned it into an Ork flyer. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they're all the best. Right, let's go to table 2 because I think we're hearing some in-game stuff. Right, let's go. Table boss, let's go.
So earlier we were talking about the ability of this Leviathan to come around, swing around, have a shoot at these Obliterators. Well, the answer was it did have a shoot at the Obliterators and it killed one Obliterator. So now you have some options on the side of the Chaos Space Marines. You can either lob your units in and say, well, I've got a Knight, I've got some Obliterators. You can't kill both unless you go Akimbo, and even then it's pretty unlikely. Let's give it a go. Instead, what we've got is the Obliterators and the Knight are both hiding. So the Obliterators are sneaking behind the pillar, and the Warlord is sneaking behind the Obliterators just to deny that 1 point. You don't need to be too aggressive with this. What you have is you have a situation where you're already 1 point ahead, your opponent didn't kill anything that turn. So you now don't need to force issue to kill anything yourself, although if you do, you have now got a 2-point advantage on top of the original advantage you have. And the enemy army is boxed in the corner, so if the Deradeo was able to sneak kill something here, that could be big, but I don't think he's going for it. I think he's just hiding, and then he's going to say, next turn, I'm going to pop out, and you've got both these units barreling down your throat, and you can't deal with all of them. The Thunder Fire cannons aren't really going to be enough to kill many Obliterators, and they're not going to be enough to kill the Knight or the Deradeo either, most certainly, with that Deradeo being sat on an objective. Those Elves are doing work, that Pillar's doing work. The terrain we've got here is doing great work with all of our games going very, very long. But that's just what I think is going on at the minute. Do you think he's going to throw both units down his throat next turn, or do you think he's going to play conservatively, guys? Back to you.
Well, You go, Nick.
Well, it looks like to me that he's using the Derridio. I think there's a couple of wounds on these eliminators here. I think he's just going to hide this turn and wait for the Iron Hands player to make a move. Because Richard looks like he has the advantage because he's going bottom of the turn. So he can react to Mike with his Iron Hands. It looks like Mike is the one who's got to make any moves to try and win the game if he wants to. And Richard can just react. He's got no line of sight shooting from this Derridio that can try and plink away at these eliminators to try and get that kill. It doesn't look like he has achieved that, but it's not the end of the world because, like Tom said, Mike didn't get a kill in his turn, so he's not losing out on that kill more. But he is gaining the hold more because his knight is holding that central objective.
Oh baby, yeah. Listen, I am excited about what I'm glad that not all the obliterators died. I wanted only so those two are just hidden here. I reckon this is going Chaos's way. I want it to go Chaos's way. Looking for Mike with his Iron Hands, he's looking to try and get old school somewhere, but I'm not seeing him going to be able to get it. He's just pinned in now at the back of the board. He's got nowhere to go.
He's moved back. He's moved back again with that.
The just cannot decide where it wants to live.
He's chaos undecided.
That's great. It's like a true Dark Angel player. I don't know.
So maybe Richard, Mike with his Iron Hands, he's got the eliminators. The captain at the back that was behind the obliterators, that was protecting most shooting from targeting him. But the eliminators obviously are snipers, so if they can get that captain, that could give Mike the edge. That'll give him that kill, and then again that'll flip things and force Richard to come towards him to hunt that kill, which again might give Mike the opportunity to get a kill in his final turn as well.
Yeah, it's looking very, very.
So there's those obliterators, and there's the captain who's. So these are closer to the Iron Hands, but the eliminators will maybe be able to snipe this captain here.
Okay. All right. Do you think that there's only 2 eliminators now, right, or is there 3?
I think there's. Looks like there's 5.
There's only 2.
4 eliminators. I think there's a 3 and a 1. It looks like.
A unit of 2 and a unit of 3. Okay, so they could potentially take him out. They've got the Patawa to do it. Which is my version of power. That night, though, look at how much. It's very interesting having now watched, through 6 games, and just how much these Nova Elves are making. Everything is focused around that. I'm not saying that it's. What I'm saying is the decision to have them on the tabletop, or the decision to have them as part of the game, really dictate the flow of the game. I've never seen scenery have such a big effect in game before. Yeah,
it's important for 40k to have line of sight blocking terrain because otherwise it's just a big open shooting field and you just stand there, shoot each other until one of you dies.
No, I know, but were this L over here, let's say, and this L over here, we would see a very different dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. I'm not disagreeing with their functionality. I'm saying look how much has happened based around these, and then we jump to table 3 where we see Orks versus Necrons, and that's never been the case.
Oh no!
Because look at the murder.
Doesn't look like there's many Necrons left.
It looks. It looks really.
But it's
poor.
fine. Necrons have got reanimation protocols. So many of these will be back. There's 4 there. There'll be 6 more back here. There's 2 here. There'll be 8 more back here.
Just
next
reanimate.
Yeah, that's it.
Into
Rinse
the
and
next,
repeat.
Yeah, into the next game.
No, this game, Rob.
No,
this game's not. This game is far from over.
This game is so over.
George is just about to start his comeback. Look at this. This Doomsday Arc is ready to go bananas and kill this. Charge that. Kill that as well. Easy.
Does it even have more than 3 attacks?
It's got 3 attacks, Rob, that hit on a 6, and it's strength 6. Easily going to kill that. But it's going to shoot this first. Maybe it might split fire, do a few wounds there before the charge, before the heroic charge finishes it off.
Oh, well, I'm furious about this. I won't lie to you. Get to the top down. Ty Winning in the chat says, "Can someone hug Nikos? I'll do it for you right now. Show us where the bad orc touched you." I think ultimately, Nick, what you have to understand is the power of the green war. This is Nick's sad face. We just got a live update that 20 death marks have gone down in that turn. It's tough, but we've seen Necrons genuinely do well at competitive ITC events for the. Not great, but some have done well. We saw Dick van der Hoosen do quite well at the.
Yeah, he had quite a lot of success with Doom Scythes, and he had like a lot of the Tomb Blades in his most recent list, and he had another variant of the list is like spamming Tesla Immortals. But I think recently against which event, Chris Frostvin, who we had on the show a couple of weeks ago. He did really well with his Necron list, and he had a big unit of raids that he was using in the Nihilic stratagem to get 2+ invulnerable save on that unit, flying him around the board, retreating and charging, wrapping up units, getting a 2+ invulnerable save. That really helped out in his list. So maybe we'll see the wraiths coming back into Necron lists.
Yeah, raids definitely. And death marks, and as much as Tywin in the chat says the death mark meta is coming, I don't see it.
Based on this game,
Based on
maybe
last
not.
Last two games.
Maybe not.
Anyway, going back to table 1, the game has been called. Iron Hands have won it 29-20.
29-20.
We talked about it at the top of the battle round. You've got to take out the Astrayas. You've got to take out the Leviathan Dreadnought. Both of them are just stood there strong. And they have been, they're just powerhouses.
I think this was a situation where Marcion was trying to wait for the perfect moment to strike, but I think we saw him just be too cautious. I think there was a chance maybe in his second turn he could have flown both Cold Star commanders over and just threw everything he had at either Leviathan or the Astraeus. Probably targeted Astraeus because that was the thing it looked like was doing the most damage to his Riptides and Ghost Keels. So I really think he went first. He had a really good first turn, but then he should have really powered through and continued pushing rather than being too conservative. And it turned out not very well for him in the end.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yep.
However, over on table 2, in a matchup between Chaos with his Iron Warriors versus Iron Hands, finding out who really is the best Metal Warriors, we've got an update from our table boss, Tom.
Yeah, so basically what's ended up happening in the Iron Hand shooting phase is it had another go at the Obliterators, where they killed, once again, one Obliterator. So not enough to kill a unit to get that kill one unit, or necessarily even that kill more points. Then you had the Leviathan chip 2 wounds off of the Knight as well. Not too much damage going on there, but what we have had is this Knight, I was thinking, could be tempted to run around the side of an Overall and kick the Leviathan Dreadnought out of the 6x4. Instead, we're having a weird kind of Benny Hill theme going on, where one of the Derrideros is stood in a backfield objective, and the big Knight is going to stay stood on that middle objective. The reason for this is now you get the Holmore point as well, so you're building up more of a lead, but also he's poked out one of his thermal cannons so it can see that Leviathan Dreadnought. Now, the Iron Hands do not have any command points remaining. They cannot harbour damage, and that Knight is within 18-inch range, meaning that it rolls 2d6, pick the highest amount of damage that it applies to the Leviathan. So that's going to be a lot of damage potentially coming through, although look by the looks of it, you've only got 2 wounds. That's quite a bit of damage that's been negated. That Leviathan is pretty low. It's down to 8 wounds, I think, so it still looks okay. So it looks like, once again, we're not going to kill anything this turn, but it's not really going to matter to the Iron Warriors, who are building up a very slow but very steady lead. I think the Knight has 19 wounds remaining, and that's pretty much where I stand, but I'll double check that for you and get back to you guys.
Right, okay, sweet. Look, that's a really good... what do you think?
Yes, I think so. Richard, again, he's decided that this is the time to, like Tom said, he's been dancing around this L, avoiding this Leviathan for a long time, but he's decided now a lot of the castle here has been depleted. It's time to push around and absolutely go for it. He almost got the Leviathan. I think it's down to half wounds, and Richard feels that the Knight is in a good position. It's got 19 wounds remaining. It's not like really low that it's going to be taken out easily. Mike will have to put a lot of his shooting into the Knight to kill it. Okay, yes, the Leviathan does have 8 wounds remaining. Well, where will the Leviathan go? It's going to continue going
points.
up
It's
the
so
table.
close. 18-18.
Oh, and this is the last turn.
It's the last turn. That Leviathan has moved again. The Leviathan now can't see the knight. It's looking to take out that Dorado.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to go for the easier kill.
We're into the last turn. This is so close. 22 minutes on the board. 21 minutes on the board. It's very close.
And look, it looks like the captain over here has retreated from these eliminators. He doesn't want to give away an easier kill. It looks like, so Mike is going for the Dorado. I think he's identified that as an easier kill than the knight. Because I think this is the knight with a 4+ invulnerable save, where a Dorado only has a 5+. So we'll see if Mike manages to get that kill and what Richard can do in return. He's probably going to... Richard is going to be holding more because he's got the centre ground. So I would say this is Richard's game to lose at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. Right, so going over to table 3... which is I want to quote Hermanista from the chat. He says, "I'm tidying my hobby room whilst watching. Thanks for watching, obviously. Just found a load of Necron bits and transfers and thought, well, they can go in the bin along with George's army."
Oh,
Poor
dear.
guy. The Necrons are against it. They are.
They have been up against it, but they were seized on. So
They were seized
that was
on.
pretty unlucky. I mean, the seize is always a really tough role to take when you get
However,
seized on.
Neil did deploy 2 Cs
He did.
in the truest
Well,
orc fashion.
he deployed like an orc, right on the line, everything ready to go. I don't think orcs deploy in any other fashion. But I did call it the Megatrack scrapjet that was here was killed by the Doomsday Ark.
Yeah, the scrapjet got killed. Finally, a murder. The orcs.
And look, no more boys, Rob. No more boys.
No, there's no more. I mean, in that picture, it looks okay for the Necrons. If we do the top down,
And that's the only picture I
Yeah.
care about. Oh,
that was that section.
look at this Annihilation Barge at the top. He's having a whale of a time. He's been there the entire game. Untouchable.
The rest of the board is orcs, but the score is so low. It's only 8-6 to the.
So George has been going for Butcher's Bill, and I really feel that seize has disrupted his plan. He's not got any headhunters either, despite having 30 snipers.
Agreed. Going to table 2. Our table boss got an update for us.
So pretty much what we're now seeing on table 2 is that we're in turn 6, which is very, very important for the Iron Hands old school. So what's ended up happening is Leviathan has swung around the side of the L and had a shoot at that Deradeo, and it has killed it. Meaning, first off, you get your kill point. Second off, you get your last strike point for old school as well. But also, if the knight now cannot kill anything in its own turn, you're going to be seeing a kill more point as well. I would imagine the knight will probably be okay to kill something, as it can now just swing round and have a shoot at Pharos or try and pick up one of his other mini characters or some eliminators or something for only 2 sat on the hill. But it's possible that it fails it, in which case that's another point over to the side of the Iron Hands. We're not going to see a line breaker for old school. We're too far out for that, as we had a search and destroy deployment pattern. But apart from that, don't know if that's enough to swing it. We could see. How many points have we got on board? So currently, it's 19-19 as it exactly stands, but we might have a hold and objective point coming in. So it looks like it might be a bit of a push. Too little, too late to try and claw that back, but it looks like it's going to be a low-scoring win to the Iron Warriors. But we'll have to play the turn out to find out. Back to you guys.
Iron Warriors. Most importantly, the Iron Hands do not win. Which is, if you want to be a true Iron Warrior of any sort,
You've got to be made entirely of iron.
not just your hands.
Not just your hands.
No, you can't be the iron knees.
Hands aren't enough.
Yeah, hands aren't enough. You need to be completely made of metal. Iron kneecaps, the whole business.
Is that your Iron Hand successor chapter?
Yeah.
The Iron Knees.
Yeah, so if we go through the tables as one last run through, and you guys will be able to see the information. Table 1, we saw a win for the Iron Hands against the Tau.
The Astraeus ruled supreme in that game. Kind of similar to the other game we had on the first game with the Supremacy Suit. The Supremacy Suit, super heavy, ran supreme in that game. And again, we've had the Atreus doing a similar thing in this game.
Yeah, on table 2, when we go to table 2, we're just waiting for this score to come in. If and the Iron Warriors kill anything in this, they'll get a point. That'll give them a point for killing a unit. That takes them to 2019. That's a low scoring. So we're just waiting on that update to see if anything gets killed. So we'll find out what happens there. It's going to be very close.
So it looks like he's using the Eliminators to just try and chip away at that knight in the centre, just to reduce its effectiveness in the Richard's last turn, reducing the likelihood that he will get that kill and kill more. I think Richard's definitely going to get the hold more. It just depends whether he can pick up any more of his secondaries. Looks like he's maxed out Reaper, but whether he'll get kill more is the question.
So going over onto table 3, just to wrap that up for you guys at home watching, the Orks are absolutely dominant and ascendant in this one. It's literally, they are everywhere. They're on all the objective. They're going to score all the points. They're going to get loads. They're just going to rack up points for just the whole thing. It's their game. They've crushed it. So well done to Orks. Big shout out to Neil and George. Unlucky.
Commiserations, George.
Maybe let's just put it to the stream.
It's the seas.
Yeah, it's just the
seas.
Yeah,
the seas
okay,
ruined
sure,
it.
Nick. If you want to make
George
excuses,
had his plan.
You make excuses.
He deployed. He's like, okay, right, I know I'm going to go first. Like, that's set in stone. I'm just going to deploy here. I'm going to go first.
Yeah.
And what can go wrong? And then he got seized on, and then it went wrong.
Right, that's a great question. Let's go back to table 2 and find out if iron hips lie. Yeah, Shakira, and we'll find out what do we need. What do we want? Do we want the Iron Warriors to even win? Or we gotta let.
I think he should just ignore the Leviathan. I think it's too much of a difficult kill.
Onto the objective. That gives him a point for holding one, right?
Yep.
And then.
Yeah, so that's getting him hold more because he's got his home one here and the knight is on the central one.
Yeah.
So it looks like Mikey's on 20 points and Richard at this point is on 19. So even just holding more. So it looks like Richard has the game at this point unless there's any last turn shenanigans like there was on table 2 in the first game where Old School swung it after the game finished. But we'll see.
So we're just waiting. How do you guys... we're just waiting to find out right now if he... because it comes down to the kill more point, right?
Well, it looks like... So the live score has just been
basically,
updated.
as long as he doesn't lose the night, he won't lose the game. We're waiting on a point.
Yeah,
so live score's in at the moment.
So it looks like Richard has gone ahead. So I think it might depend on the secondaries. I don't know if one of our table bosses can let us know what secondaries Mike has and if he has any chance of scoring them in the final battle round, even though he's already had his turn. The Iron Knees player.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like Mike is maxed out on his secondaries.
Okay, so we're gonna go now to our table boss for an update on the score information as is.
So I believe what's going to happen is if the Chaos Forces do not kill anything, Van is going to give kill more to the side of the Iron Hands, which means we're going to end up with a 21-21 draw as it currently stands. If the Iron Hands Warriors do manage to kill something, that will give them the kill point and also deny the kill more point for the side of the Iron Hands, which means it end up with a 22-20 point win for a 2-point swing. So effectively, we're just trying to avoid, see what happens at that point. We're rolling up the shooting now. I'll let you know how it goes. Back to you guys.
Yeah, so into the shooting phase now for the Iron Warriors. They've only got to kill one thing. If they kill one thing, they win the game. If they don't, they draw. That's all they're looking to do.
Although, so Mike looks like he has Old School, so I don't know whether has he got the Warlord? Has he got Old Strike? I mean, he got Last Strike. He's definitely going to get Line Breaker.
So all he has to do, the Thermal Cannon is looking to blow a Librarian off the board. He's down here.
It's a great
3
choice.
Hits, 2 wounds, 2 5-up info saves
And he's at short range, so that's going to anyone through is going to be 2d6 damage. Pick the highest.
2d6 damage, 2 1s. Oh my god, is this going to be the win? 6 damage.
6
damage. A kill.
But his Iron Hands,
yes.
is that going to save him?
Oh, no way.
Doesn't
he's
look
not
like it
making
has.
7.
No, he's gone.
He's gone. That is the end of the game.
Okay. So very close game there. Only a couple of points in it. Very well played to both those players.
Really interesting game to watch back. Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Sports Network. I'm Rob. This is Nick.
Hello.
Interesting 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of had, really. It was almost similar to round 1. We had the super heavy fight on table 1. The super heavy sort of won the game. We had a really close Marine off on table 2, and then on table 3 we had
Necrons lose again.
Yes. I was trying to avoid saying that, but yes, the Necrons lost again.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, really cool, really cool. Really impressed by the just generally the scenery and everything else that's happened here. Organisation's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed these games. They've been really good. There's been some big moments. Look at the charge going in from the Riptide. Going in, down onto 1 wound, got psychicked off.
That smite.
That was really big. Leaving Obliterators out of range on deep strikes, that was huge. Seizing on the 6, that was really big.
Yeah.
In the Ork game. Some really massive moments. Yeah, there was also a seize in the Iron Hand game as well. So, overall, great round. Great round.
Yeah. Very exciting games.
Thank you to everyone in the chat who's been watching. Big shout out to everyone. Our table bosses, our 2 Toms, our Tom-Toms, giving us the navigation on the tables.
Absolutely.
And a big shout out to our table boss, Scrivo, who looks like he needs a coffee. Yeah, right, he's doing
Or
great.
a monster.
Yeah, so don't forget.
Not a beer.
Yeah, don't forget to join us again in about 30 minutes. The times will be on the holding screen that you'll see. Join us for round 3. Very, very exciting. As we lead into tomorrow, see who's going to win. Who do you think we're going to see come back? We're going to see the Strayers? Are we going to see those Raven Guard?
I really want to see Chaos win this event. I've been playing a lot of Chaos recently, and I love Chaos, so I really want to see a Chaos player win this event. So maybe Richard played really well this game, so maybe he could take the tournament.
Yeah, we'll come back with the faction win percentages at the beginning of the next round. We saw, obviously, at the beginning of the last round, Tyranids had won. Both Tyranids have won both their games. I wonder if that's going to stick true. And we also know that there's an Eldar mirror match happening at the minute, so we'll see which one of those gazumped. Anyway, thanks for joining us. You guys have been great, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.